And hello and welcome everyone to the first comic multiverse of the brand new year. It's 2023, Matt, and I know for the next couple of weeks we were talking about this. We're going to be fucking up and writing 2022 and
Yes.
not meaning it.
Yep. Yeah. I almost did it when doing stuff for this show. I kept putting 2022. I'm like, no, it's 2023.
Yep. Yep, for the next couple of weeks, we all get a free pass to fuck up because that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
But yes, Happy New Year to you, Matt. Happy New Year to everyone in the chat who is joining us. It's our big end of the year recap show where we talk about all of our favorite things, and if there's time, maybe some of our least favorite things. And I gotta say, as I was given another couple days, a couple weeks there, which I don't normally get to sit and relax and even revisit some stuff, I gotta say, in terms of entertainment, it was a hell of a year.
Yeah. It was making up for the last 2 years prior, where everything kind of got pushed back to this year and to last year, and then this year as well.
Absolutely. For Christmas, I rewatched Shazam, and I'm like, man, this is such a great movie. When was that sequel supposed to come out? Mm-hmm. Oh, it was supposed to come out this year for Christmas, but it didn't happen. Oh, shit.
Yep, got pushed back.
I watched that trailer for the sequel again, and I'm like, oh yeah, freaking Eminem was in this one. In that song that apparently gets used all the time for trailers now.
It does, yes.
The go-to trailer music. I wonder how much money he makes off the back of that.
Probably not as much as Mariah Carey.
Oh, probably not at all. I'm also really glad I had the time off to catch up on movies, because when I made my list of favorite comics, favorite movies, favorite TV shows, I watched a shitload of TV this year.
Mm-hmm. I think I watched an equal amount. I want to say an equal amount.
I'm looking here. I think I finished 13 shows.
Jeez.
Which is a lot. Now, granted, a lot of that is second seasons to stuff that I loved last year. This was really the year of strong sequels that followed up on, strong debuts. And also a good year for dark comedy, actually, too.
It was, yeah. Lots of dark comedy.
Dark comedy is having a great moment right now. Maybe it's because the world is fucked and we all think we're going to die soon.
Maybe,
probably.
Yeah, maybe.
All we got to do is we got to laugh in the face of all the horror. ChemDog reminds me in the chat Wednesday. I watched half of Wednesday. I didn't finish it, but I did like what I did see of it so far.
I haven't watched that one. Yeah, I've heard conflicting reports that it's kind of terrible and kind of good, and yeah.
It depends what you go into it for. If you want old-timey Addams Family, you're not really going to get it, but what you do get is basically them dropping a fully formed older Wednesday into a CW show and having her burn the whole thing down.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Also, if you're thinking that it's going to be a total Tim Burton affair, also not true. He directed a lot of it, but it was actually written by the Smallville guys.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, I think actually works good, too, because it's yes, point Tim Burton creatively into directions. He doesn't need to write and direct and cast all his friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Christina Ricci is also in it, which is a lot of fun, and Jenna Ortega is really good. It's a mystery show, too, and if you're anything like me, Matt, you'll probably guess the mystery in, the first 15 minutes. I know who did it.
Okay.
Because they do, a bit of bit casting where you're like, oh, well, obviously it's them. It's whenever Malcolm McDowell shows up in something, it's well, obviously he's the fucking villain. He's Malcolm McDowell.
Villain, yeah.
Yeah, or Ben Kingsley or something. Well, obviously it's going to be them. They're way too sinister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, where would we like to start? Because I got my list in front of me here. I got movies, I got TV, I got comics, and my piddly section for games, which is just basically Elden Ring and Elden Ring.
Well, we can start with video games if it's that short, yeah.
Sure, we might as well. So this was the year of Elden Ring.
Yeah, for some people, yeah.
Yeah. I had the last gen console, and I was still able to play it, and I was still able to really frickin' enjoy it. It's the furthest I've ever gotten in a From Software game. I think it's the one that finally codified everything that studio has been trying to do, and I think more people... Well, I mean, it did. Statistically, more people bought and played this one than any other Dark Souls game.
Yep, because they were told it was easier. And it was.
It is, in its own way, and more difficult in others. It's kind of a game where it really does give you the freedom that it offers, and it's look, you're having a hard time here on this boss, don't worry. Leave, come back, find a new weapon, grind for some souls, and then, take another crack at it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's kind of beautiful in that regard, because there was always a point. It happened in Sekiro, it happened in Dark Souls, it happened in everything. I would get far, then I'd hit a wall, and I'd have no way to progress. unless, relearning everything, and then I would just never finish it. Elden Ring totally solves that problem by giving you multiple different ways to proceed.
Multiple different ways. That also affect the ending of the game and everything, depending on how you progress certain things in certain orders.
Absolutely. And you can, make it as hard for yourself as you want. You can totally sword and board it. You can cheese it out with summons. You can cheese it out with a bleed build, which is what I did. I'm not ashamed of myself. Double scimitars and bleed, motherfucker. It's the best. If they didn't want me to use it, they shouldn't have made it so goddamn effective on everything. Though I'd still get fucked over sometimes by those armored enemies and those stupid little trolls that don't bleed good. So no strategy is perfect. That's the other thing. You can't cheese the whole game. You can just cheese most of it.
I mean, I cheesed most of the game. I was a double greatsword build, so I just whack things until it just stopped moving.
Until the total guts berserk style of play, where it's if I just hit it with unrelenting force.
That's exactly what I did.
It also, not even close when it comes to the greatest boss battles of gaming this year. I mean, it had them fucking all.
It was really fucking good boss battles.
Yeah. I hadn't played Midnight Suns yet, because again, I'm probably going to be getting my PS5 next paycheck, but I know you spoke very highly of it, Matt, which makes me actually want to play it.
Yeah, it's fucking great. It's a great game. Fantastic.
Yeah, which I was worried, and I think we talked about this before, where it's wow, that Avengers game broke so many people's hearts. No one gave Guardians a chance, and no one gave Midnight Suns a chance.
Yeah, both of which were really damn good.
Yeah, that we probably should have given more of a chance to.
Yeah, but this one seems to be getting a little bit more attention as well now, because of all the reviews came out and loved it and everything, and rightly so. It's a fantastic little game with card mechanics and very XCOM-ish and everything. Yeah.
When I saw the ability that you could really customize your character visually and everything, and not just gameplay wise, I'm oh yeah, that's my jam. That's what I want.
Yeah, all the characters, all the characters are outside of your character. You can get different costumes for, or costumes from comics and stuff, and you can also give them different swimsuits, which is cool.
Oh, fun! Like an anime hot spring episode.
Yes, because there is literally a hot spring at the chapel. Yes.
They know their fan base. Jaden saying, play No Heroes. Well, here's the funny thing about No More Heroes, Jaden. I had gotten a Switch just recently, had never played the other two No More Heroes, played both of them in a weekend, completely OD'd on No More Heroes, then never went back for the third one.
Burnt yourself out on it, yeah.
Burnt myself out super hard. I'm sure anyone would be no, that's too much No More Heroes. No, stop, you'll hurt yourself.
Yeah.
It's a lethal dose. Isn't it coming to PC or something now? No More Heroes, it's actually off the Nintendo now and it's on other stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I want to say it got ported just recently to some places that were surprising. Where I'm really, it's there now?
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, Midnight Suns, definitely something I'll have to check out. I like that there is a social component too, that you can hang out with Captain America and Elsa Bloodstone at your mansion.
Yes, you have a friendship option, and there's actual clubs. There's a book club. There's a repair shop class with Peter Parker and Robbie Reyes and Tony Stark, and then there's the emo kids club with who was it? Nico. From Runaways and Ileana and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, well, I know what group I'm going to be joining.
You can join them all. You can join them all at the same time. Yeah.
Hey, you got Persona in my Marvel game, and it's peanut butter and chocolate.
Yeah, it's great.
See, I'm glad they figured that out too, because half the fun of superhero comics, and especially team books, it isn't even when they're fighting crime or fighting supervillains. It's when they're hanging out and their personalities are bouncing off each other.
Yeah, it does that really well.
Well, that's a solid sell from me. What else did I have in my piddly games of the year thing? This was also a Pokemon year for me, both Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet. I feel like Legends Arceus probably was the stronger game technically, but I feel like, as is often the case with Pokemon, it's been completely eclipsed by Scarlet and Violet, which I still had a lot of fun with. Technical problems, whatever they may be, I personally didn't have any.
Yeah, no, neither did I. I've been really enjoying. I haven't played Scarlet for a little bit yet because I've been playing some other games, but yeah, I've really enjoyed playing that one. I much more than I did Arceus. I like
Interesting.
The world feels both empty and like full at the
Huge.
same time. Yeah,
You're absolutely right. It's like it really comes down to like what sort of player you are. Like, do you play Pokemon for the Pokemon? I do, and that's kind of my thing. And there was a lot of great new ones, a lot of great returning faces. Probably one of the best storylines that Pokemon has had in a really long time, because it had 3 that come together at the end, and probably 3 of the best rivals too.
Absolutely.
Arvin especially, where it's like, wow, this character is much more deeper and interesting than you normally get in a Pokemon game. And also, his fight is harder than the champion. He has one of, like, the best teams to go up against.
Yep.
He beat the shit out of me at least twice, which is funny, because, you know, I'm an adult playing Pokemon, so I just power through everything, because I know all the moves and all the techniques and everything. I get to him, and it's like, oh, this guy is playing for keeps. Holy shit, he has an actually well-balanced team with moves to counter-hit all my moves.
Yeah. I don't think I've gotten to him yet. Have I gotten to him? I can't remember.
Tell me when you get there, because he is a mother of a fucker.
I have seen people like fighting him, and they rage quit and everything just because like he's so difficult.
Oh yeah, he's got actually, you know, we'll put Arvin there. Arvin and all the Elden Ring bosses for bosses of the year. All these horrible Lovecraftian ancient horrors and this anime sad boy were the toughest boss battles of the year. The chat, of course, is saying God of War, Ragnarok. Haven't played it yet. Gonna play it. It's gonna be my first PS5 game. I know you played it, Matt, and you only had nice things to say about it.
I played it. I platinumed it as well.
Oh, holy shit!
Yeah, it's fucking great. So fucking good. So fucking good. Yeah. I'm a little disappointed because it was meant to be a 3-part. It was meant to be a trilogy.
Yeah, and
this
they
was
finished
meant to be the second game.
Too.
So when I learned that and going into the game, I thought, I was probably going to feel a bit rushed or something. But it doesn't. It takes its time, does all great stuff with like Odin. Odin is like a character you're not suspecting of being that type of character. He's played by Richard Schiff.
I know, I heard that too. I'm like, holy shit, that's really interesting casting. Like, the whole thing is filled with interesting casting.
Yeah, and he plays Odin in a way that you don't really expect, and it's quite cool. And then Ryan Hurst's Thor is just fantastic.
Ryan Hurst, who I always thought was a really underrated actor on stuff like Sons of Anarchy, where he wasn't really he had stuff to, work with, but like not as much as the main characters did, but I'm glad he gets to shine here.
Yeah, he was fantastic as Thor.
Yeah, he goes to like every Comic-Con too, so be easy to get his autograph and everything. I know they do a lot more stuff with Freya that you can't really spoil. There's a lot of the game you can't really spoil. That game too, also with some cool bosses and some cool late game items as well.
Yes.
I know there's at least one item I saw where I'm like, oh, that's super cool if you know your Norse mythology, that's what you get to have.
Which one was that?
The spear.
Yes, the spear. The spear that's like a god-killing weapon that's like combined with like Kratos's like Spartan heritage, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, because like he goes on, he talks about like how like Spartan children, like the spear is the first weapon they learn to master and everything, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Bringing it back to his character, and also how the spear with its name is kind of the twin of Odin's spear, and like
that's the whole thing. The whole quest to get the spear is like because of that. Yeah.
And like the spear and magic helmet from all your favorite operas, which are the whole reason why Vikings have horns in the first place. And it's like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
This was a good ass year for Vikings too. We'll talk more about Vikings when we talk about movies we liked this year. What else was there for games this year? Really not much for me. I tinkered with Darktide. It kind of kicked my ass because I was expecting it to be more like Vermintide, and it wasn't. And I was disappointed that it wasn't more like Vermintide.
I've been playing it and I've been loving it.
Here's the thing. When it works for me, I love it. When I get a good team and, like, we're actually doing what we're supposed to be doing, and, like, it's not frying my small computer that's not, like, quite up to date with how high-tech it wants to be, I have a great time. But when I get a shitty team and they run ahead and we all start dying and none of us get the items we want at the end of it, really takes the wind out of my sails.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And it's maddening because it's like, you guys got this so right in Vermintide. Vermintide was a perfect way to run this. How did you mess it up this time? And I'm like, oh, because you're chasing the Destiny model is what it is. We need to always be online now. We need to have a hub world, and we need to have items that cycle through and everything. I'm like, oh, Fat Shark, I thought you were better than this.
Well, when it does work, it's really great. I recently
is.
just got a new graphics card. I got a 3070, and
Nice.
it runs buttery smooth, the ray tracing, and it looks
Oh, I bet.
fantastic. It looks fantastic.
It's a beautiful looking game when you play it at where it's supposed to be, and I'll freely admit a lot of that is my problem too, because this is my first time ever being an actual PC owner, and when I booted it up, I'm like, hey, why isn't this working as good as it's supposed to? My computer was cutting edge 5 years ago. Oh, yeah, I guess you're supposed to update this, which I guess that's a thing I'll have to do in 2023. How to update computer? How to make better?
You'll probably only just need to get a new graphics card. That's about it.
Okay, good.
And they're coming down in price now because like they've got like a new thing on the graphics card that like prevents people from using them as Bitcoin miners.
Oh, good.
So like Bitcoin miners have just been like, oh, what the fuck? We can't surplus buy all these up.
Yeah, I know that was a big problem with like the Steam Decks and the PS5s. Like no one could get their hand on any of them because fucking Bitcoin miners kept buying them.
Yep.
Sifu, everyone in the chat saying they loved Sifu. Haven't played Sifu. I know it's on the Switch now, and it seems like the sort of game I might like to take with me.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. It's pretty good. I saw recently they did an update that allows you to like make your own moves, and then you can.
Yes.
There's like a director feature where you can like kind of direct your own kung fu films and stuff.
That's sick. That's what you like to see. It's also, really at the forefront of these games where it's like, look, we don't need to be, graphically AAA. We don't need to be melting your eyes. Sometimes you just need a really good, gameplay loop and really good mechanics.
Yeah, exactly.
Chat's also saying Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. Here's the thing. I didn't rush out to play Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII because I played the original on the PSP back in the day.
I'll get that like at some point once I've finished up all the games I'm playing at the moment. But yeah, I wasn't rushing out to get that.
Yeah, I didn't rush out to get it because I remember playing it when it was new on the PSP. That was one of the reasons I got the PSP. Also, too, I still never finished the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Maybe I will on the 5 when it looks as good as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, just be wary because I think you have to pay for the upgrade on that one.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I remember.
It might be on like the PlayStation Plus now because the game is on there. I'm not sure whether it's the PlayStation 5 version or not.
Right, because I played it for a minute and it was the free PlayStation Plus version they came out with a while ago. So even if I do have to pay it again, I won't be double paying for it.
Yeah.
But yes, I remember they were weird about that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else in game talk there? I know people really loved Vampire Survivor this year. I know people were enjoying Cult of the Lamb. Beyond that, that's kind of everything I was playing and everything I was doing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all. I played Callisto Protocol. It's not worth talking about because we'll be talking about it longer than the actual game is. I think that's about it that we played. Yeah. I'm just gonna start the Witcher, the new Witcher, the PS5 update for the Witcher in a couple of days. So yeah,
maybe I'll finally finish it this time. I remember playing it for goddamn weeks, and then only at the point where it's like, oh, end of chapter 1. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That was the end of chapter 1. I've been playing this for 50 hours. And there's 2 massive game-sized DLCs. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
God damn, well, you can't say you didn't get enough content. I will say this, because people want to talk about, what's one of the worst things you play? I try to go to my way to not play bad things. I know you and I both played the new Saints Row game, and I think we liked it more than most people. I know it's on a lot of people's worst game of the list here, and I'm like, oh, that's so unfair. It works, it's just not the game you wanted it to be. Come off it.
The one thing I didn't really like was that the developers went out of their way to come out on social media and say, the old games are shit. This is, what we're doing. Like, bigging up their game by bigging up their new game by putting down the old games. That's what I quite hated. But it was a fine game. It was fine.
Perfectly adequate. And ironically, it gave you what people wanted forever. Like, oh, we want something more in line with the first two. All right, they gave you that then, and y'all still complained about it. I get it, where it's like, oh, well, it's the next generation now. They should be a little better than this. It's like, well, you confused the developers because you kept saying you wanted something like the old games.
No one ever wants what they want, and until they get it, and then they want something else.
I hear you, man. I hear you. But yeah, so there's the game stuff there. What should we do next? Should we do movies or TV next?
Let's do TV. Get it
Oh
in
God, I have so
focus.
much freaking TV. I guess we'll start off with something I know we both really liked and enjoyed, and something that became a huge hit, even outside, I think, just the regular nerd media, and that's Andor.
Yes, Andor.
Andor, showing that, despite what all the grifters and complainers and professional bellyachers of the world would have you believe, there's still quite a lot of steam in Star Wars, and people still do care, and you can
Yes.
do a lot with it.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can do a lot of really fun stuff with it, and you can make it timely, and you can make it, just going in directions that people would never even consider. You can have like breakout performances by friggin', Skarsgård.
Yeah. Oh my God, he was so good in that show.
He was amazing. That speech he was giving about, everything he was willing to sacrifice, for the good of the rebellion and for the future and to defeat the Empire. I'm like, man, that's some serious shit. And also that's like, depths of gray and complexity that you don't often get in a series that is so, defined by the light side, dark side dynamic.
Yeah, yeah. And then you of course have like Mon Mothma and her story with like trying to
Yeah.
fund a rebellion like while still in the Senate and trying to like fight
Keep her family from falling apart.
Yeah, keep her family from falling apart and like fighting like the Senate in like a political way and trying to do the right thing and go through proper channels, but none of it's working. And
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
They really make her a deep three-dimensional character, which is amazing to think that in that first movie, she's just the lady that sends Luke on the mission. It's like, now if you go here.
Yeah, exactly.
Little did you know that I actually have a rich and interesting history that you'll never know about. I do more than just send teenagers to their death.
Mm-hmm.
Also, too, I really loved the structure of the show, too, where, like, every 3 episodes was like a mini-movie.
Yeah, I think that's how they need to structure the shows going forward. They need to take basically taking it from comic books. The 3-act structure of, like, a 3-act story in a comic book, and then you go on to a new story arc or something.
Yeah, arc-based storytelling is good shit.
Yeah.
I love me some good arc-based storytelling. And also, too, hey, we had goddamn Gollum himself there coming back to Star Wars in a big bad way and being like, hey, look, I'm here again in another role.
Yeah, and look, I can
Yeah,
actually act.
I can act my ass off, everyone. Shut the hell up about Snoke already. It's been many years. You can shut the hell up about it. Yeah, the chat's talking about House of the Dragon. I didn't watch House of the Dragon. I had the opportunity to, but I had way too many other shows that I was invested in.
Yeah, it was a lot better than Game of Thrones. I quite enjoyed it. I liked it had like, again, like every couple of episodes it would jump 10 years or like a couple of years in the story, so you get like different actors playing the same characters and everything.
It's definitely one of those. I'll get to it eventually, but like I said, I finished like 13 shows this year. I had like way too much TV to watch.
Yeah.
Hell, I got all caught up on Tulsa King before we started this show.
Yes, so did I last night.
It's a good one. Taylor Sheridan's brand new show filled with all the hallmarks of a Taylor Sheridan show. Are there ranches? Yep. Are there complex male characters battling their own morality? Yep.
He's got 3 shows going on at the moment that are in the same universe. Like they're on all at on the same night as well.
Amazing. Again, to think that dude was just like one of the cops on Sons of Anarchy,
I know,
and now he's one of the biggest TV names in television and movies too.
He basically owns Paramount Plus. Like half the shows on that are like his shows.
Oh yeah, if they lost him, that company would probably have to close their doors. They'd have to put a for sale sign up.
Yeah.
Ooh. Don't forget reverence for the Native Americans. That's also in there.
Yes, yeah, that's in all his shows. It's great.
Sure is.
He's doing one at the moment called 1923, which is a prequel to Yellowstone. And I suggest people should watch it. Harrison Ford's in it. He's the main character.
Okay, I keep saying I'm going to watch Yellowstone, but there's so much Yellowstone now. That's why I started with King Tulsa, because I'm like, okay, this is at least just one season that's starting.
Well, I mean, they're not really all connected. Like, Yellowstone itself is all, like, one show, and then, like, the 2 prequels are like, this is what the family was like when they first came to America.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to check this. Also, hey, props to Sylvester Stallone, who reminds us, hey, I actually am a quality actor when it's called for, and despite me basically becoming a parody of myself in the last few years, I have always been very good at exuding, masculine power, but also healthy vulnerability. Because you remember, like, oh yeah, he cries a lot in those first 3 Rocky movies, and oh yeah, he cries in Rambo too, and he cries a lot in this show, and it's like, oh yeah, he's actually really good at that as an actor.
It's nice to see a guy who, I mean, he still pretty much is. He's like a definitive 80s action guy, but to be one who isn't trying to, like, he doesn't have stipulations where, like, oh, my character can't get shot or like killed or like beaten in fights, unlike some other rock-based actors.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice to actually have someone who's willing to like do actual things and actual acting. And same again, we'll talk about it later, but Dave Bautista as well.
Yeah, to actually fucking challenge himself. Big agree. And he's 70 goddamn 5 in that show. And I'm like, wow, and that they make that part of the show, that he looks great for 75.
Yeah.
Bagging, way hotter 55-year-old women. And Dana Delaney, who also looks great for her age, too. Let's not lie.
She does, yeah.
Dana Delaney in her riding pants and everything. And I'm just like, man, I can tell that this is, that Paramount Plus is a much more senior audience, because it's just like silver foxes as far as the eye can see.
Well, that's the joke about like Yellowstone. It's like your dad's like soap opera.
Exactly.
But it's good. It's really good though. It's really good.
That's the thing. Yeah, I heard that like too, where it's like, oh, Yellowstone, it's friggin' what is it, Succession with cowboy hats, and I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good pitch. I don't mind it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Did Peacemaker come out this year, or am I imagining things?
I think it was like over end of last year, this year.
Yes, I think so too. Well, either way, Functorial, Peacemaker is great, and I actually rewatched it just recently because I showed it to someone else over Christmas, and they agreed that it fucking kicks ass.
Nice.
It felt great revisiting it too, because it's like, oh yeah, this guy's now in charge of the entire DC universe.
It's pretty good. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get some good shit.
This guy who makes one-off jokes about Batmite and stuff.
Yeah, and tells people that Aquaman like fucks fish.
And that Green Arrow is a brony. So good. Man, the friggin', deleted scenes from that are great, too. Just all the stuff that John Cena made up on the spot.
Oh, yeah? Really?
Oh, yeah. A bunch of it didn't make it into the show, but the stuff that does make it in is pretty great. Like, he had a whole runner about fart porn that never got in there. Whereas, like, yeah, see, I would be a Windy City tradesman, and he would be your classic breeze eater. And he just goes on for like 20 minutes with this. I'm like, yeah, I can see why this didn't make it in the show, but still very funny. Good shit. What else was this year? Oh, another show I know we both watched, and I think this was probably one of the big surprises for everyone, The Bear.
Yeah, oh man, The Bear. I didn't want it to end.
I know, right? Which I guess also has an Andor connection because they have the same actor.
Yes.
What a great fucking year that guy had, am I right? But yeah, The Bear, family drama about a friggin' meat sandwich shop in Chicago and the dysfunctional people who work there.
And all the shit that goes on in the kitchen is just stressful but amazing to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, really, it's a story that, could work for any service industry job where it's like, we give of ourselves, and you have to be a little crazy to work there. And it also probably helps if you have a criminal record and you can't be hired anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's just these guys, like, trying to put their life together, trying to deal with grief because, they lost John Bernthal.
Yes.
I love he's in it for a minute as the brother who killed himself. I'm like, oh shit, it's John Bernthal. Yeah, I'd be pretty sad too if I lost John Bernthal, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
and an ending that is, I rarely say it, but the ending of that first season was genuinely kind of perfect, the way they tie it together.
It really was.
Like, that's like a writing 101 thing where it's like, oh, and you tied this thing from the first episode in the beginning all the way to the end and kept it nice and thematic and everything. It's like, oh, cool, because if he had just done that one thing earlier, the show would have been over.
Yeah. Also, it gets extra points for, like, making fun of Snyder Cut cultists.
Oh, yeah, that also happened, too, didn't it? That's right, he pulled out the gun, and it's like, you fucking incel basement-dwelling Snyder Cut nerds.
It was great.
It was. Also, hey, Matty Matheson was on that show. He's a Canadian celebrity chef, so it's funny to see him be in a show about cooking and doesn't actually cook.
Oh, that's cool.
That was. Was Young Justice Phantoms this year? Or was it last year? Because I know I was reviewing it, and then I wasn't reviewing it anymore. I mean, like, I enjoyed the finale, but it also just makes me sad to think about, because it's like, oh yeah, I guess it's done, isn't it?
I haven't watched Young Justice since they started that new part of the animation where, like, things were, like, in, like, CGI.
You will probably appreciate the last season because it is so Superman, Superboy
I know, yeah.
heavy.
I've seen a lot of the stuff that's come out on that, yeah.
Yeah, the stuff they do with Zod and everything is pretty strong, where it's like, you know what, if this does end up being the last thing... No, Phantoms was 2021. What are you on about, Tevya?
Yeah, I was going to say, it was quite a while ago.
Yeah, again, I review it on the channel. I'm like, hey, I know I haven't reviewed it in at least a year. Come on.
Yeah.
Now, I got some shows that I don't think you saw, so I'll let you pick the next one. What was another show that you really liked this year?
Well, Better Call Saul ended this year.
Yes.
It's just amazing.
Is this the part where I embarrass myself by saying I only ever watched the first episode of Better Call Saul?
You gotta watch it. Like, you gotta just keep watching. Try and, like, not have any spoilers, and just, like, it's not the show you think that first episode tells you it's going to be.
That's what I've heard, that it becomes something really different, that he doesn't even become the Saul that we know until, like, really late in the show.
Yeah, like season 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, like, it becomes a long time before it actually becomes the Breaking Bad prequel you think it's going to be.
And you can understand why he would become like that, because, like, some of the people around him are, like, genuinely, like, take advantage of him, but then also he takes advantage of them too, because he's, you know, Slippin' Jimmy, a scam artist.
Yep, he's a complex character.
Yes, it's great. It's a great show, and it was good as well to also get Giancarlo Esposito's Gus Fring back, and Mike Ehrmantraut, and some other characters in later seasons that all come back because it's a prequel show, and it ties it up all really nicely.
That's good. Oh, the chat is correcting me there. The first half of Young Justice Phantom started in 21. The second half ended in 2022. Okay, fair enough.
That's right. They did it in, like, 2 halves because they weren't finished it or something. Yeah.
Well, it's what they do with all animation now, unfortunately. That's why freaking Netflix is famous for this. They're like, oh, here's season 1 of our brand new animated thing we picked up for 2 seasons. No, you got a 10-episode order and you split it in 2 for no reason. Did you see on Netflix now the second season of Chicago Party Ant came out with, like, 0 promotion and 0 fanfare?
I didn't even know what that was, and, like, I'm like, I saw a post on Twitter being like, who is this for? Who is watching this?
Again, this is another one of those, you know, frickin' Netflix, we let the robots decide.
Yeah, again, it sounds like, an AI just spat out, like, a bunch of words. It's like that thing on The Simpsons, the monkey, you know? You put the words on the thing. Okay, Chicago, wine, aunt. Okay, cool.
Now, here's the funny thing about it actually was, like, a very popular Twitter page, apparently, that got adapted in a show, which happens...
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense. Oh, my God.
Happens more time than you would think. And shit, don't say it can never lead to good things, because Justin Halpern, who we've had on this very show, he was the guy behind the Shit My Dad Says Twitter page, which got a show with goddamn Captain Kirk, and he was able to finagle that into producing Harley Quinn and producing Abbott Elementary, which were 2 of the best shows that came out this year. But yeah, Chicago Party Ant was another one of those things. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. You know, we're doing a female perspective thing from an older lady from Chicago. Nah, it's her fucking nephew who basically role-played her and then turned it into a show. And I'm like, oh, I like this way less now that I know this isn't a real Chicago Party Ant that's behind this. Like, I watched the first couple episodes because I think, like, fucking one of the Red Letter Media guys followed the Twitter. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's into something. Inside Job Season 2 was good. It was a big improvement on Season 1. I think that show is actually going to stick around. I haven't finished it yet, but I enjoyed what I've seen.
I that show's been on my list because I really want to... I haven't started watching it yet, but I'm like, this looks cool. Conspiracy theories. Weirdo, like, comedy conspiracy theories. That's cool.
Very much. And, like, there's so many great, like, background jokes if you're into that shit. The bar they work at is called MK Ultras. Yeah, the bar they drink at is called MK Ultras. The old guy who's, like, you know, worked there forever in the company, his name is Grassy Knoll.
Oh, that's great.
And yes, Grassy Knoll definitely shot Kennedy. he feels bad about it, but they're like, look, every time we need to shoot a president, Grassy Knoll, we got to get you out of hiding to come and do this. Oh, but I don't want to, though. But you're the best at it. It's pretty funny, and the second season actually builds on the character and builds the lore of the world, and it's actually pretty good, and I actually think it will stick around.
Yeah, okay.
It totally beats the complaints where it's oh geez, here's another Rick and Morty. It's not. It's really not.
Yeah, or again, I think it's because of the animation. It looks very similar to Rick and Morty. Yeah.
Yes, and what is it? And Reagan's dad in the show is very much a Rick type, who's just a total asshole who lords over his family and everything. Not a genius though. Not a genius at all. Again, some season 2s I had this year. Reservation Dogs season 2. Have you been watching Reservation Dogs, Matt?
I've watched the first season. I haven't watched the second one yet.
Season 2 is even funnier and goes into even crazier directions by giving characters you wouldn't expect whole episodes to themselves. The moms get whole episodes to themselves.
Does Bill Burr get a whole episode to himself?
Bill Burr doesn't get a whole episode, but Mark Maron basically comes into the show and plays a Bill Burr type cameo. That's very good. So clearly this is a one-a-season thing. We'll get a beloved comedian to come in and play a part.
Yeah, okay, that's cool.
That's good. They do actually eventually make it to California, which is a really great episode, and they meet White Jesus, which is one of my favorite characters. He might just be a crazy homeless guy. He might actually be White Jesus, because the show does this interesting thing with magical reality where it's wait, are we actually seeing this, or are they just thinking that in their heads? It's really interesting.
That's cool. That's cool.
Again, you don't really see magical realism comedy, and also, hey, This is one of several things I loved this year that Taika Waititi was involved in.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, he's produced so many great shows this year. I mean, look, you can't talk about that without also talking about Our Flags Mean Death, which is funny, because I think you and I were on top of that show before, the internet was on top of it. We were just watching because, oh, it's Taika Waititi's new pirate show. Can't wait to watch it. And then by the end of it, it's oh, this ended up being, one of the best modern queer stories told in Hollywood. Oh, didn't see that coming.
What? Yeah, jeez. It's great. Yeah. It was fantastic.
What still blows me away about that show is that it's super funny, but all the characters on it are based on real people who actually existed.
Yeah, they're all real people, yeah.
That blew my goddamn mind, because we have Blackbeard's second in command, Izzy Hands, and I'm that's a stupid name. What was Blackbeard's second mate's real name? Oh my god, Israel Hands. Fuck off, he's a real person. Who actually existed. And they wouldn't have called him Israel. He was Izzy to his friends. Great costuming, great jokes. Steve Bonnet ends up also being, in that role of really darkly comedic characters. Everything about his life is so sad and so pathetic. And yet you want to root for him, even though he continually seems to keep making the wrong choice over and over again.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
It's another chapter 2 in the, Taika Waititi shitty father repertoire.
Yeah, he's good at doing them.
Everyone in that show has a shitty father. Every single one, and it greatly influences their actions.
Yeah.
Again, when people are oh, I didn't quite jive with this new Thor Love and Thunder movie, I'm yeah, that's because you're watching it as a Marvel movie. You're not watching it as a Taika Waititi movie, because that's what it really was. You got to know about all of, the shitty fathers in his work, and the fact that Thor breaks that cycle by becoming a good dad at the end of it all.
Yes.
And that the real Love and Thunder is the love of a father that can save the world. And I'm see, look, I'm not going to say you were watching the movie wrong, but you were watching it in the wrong context. Chris Hemsworth also wears a hot dog Halloween costume, which is also what Taika Waititi wears. Because it's all his story, man. That's what he's really telling. What else did you have, Matt?
People have been saying stuff like Sandman as well. That came out this year. Which
still haven't watched that yet. Gotta get on that.
It's pretty good.
I didn't watch it because I was terrified that we were never going to get a second season. I'm don't make me fall in love again, Netflix, and then break my heart.
Well, I think Neil Gaiman has a bit of pull at Netflix, so he's no, we're doing a second season whether you like it or not.
I know that now. I know at first he wasn't sure. And I love Gaiman on Twitter just being very forward. But it's so we're getting more, right? We're doing this. And Gaiman's I don't fucking know, man. I just love stories, man. I'm just over here telling stories and shit, man.
Yeah, no, it was great. Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer was just fantastic.
Here, she's great.
She's fantastic in it. Yeah, it's great role. Great show. I'm looking forward to more. They did like I haven't watched it. There was like a special they did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just like dropped it. It was like,
oh, that's crazy.
I don't know whether it was like an extra episode or like just like a short or something, but I haven't watched it, but apparently it's pretty good as well.
We're getting a lot of that recently. Like the Harley Quinn show is getting a Valentine's Day special in February, which is good for me because that means I'm going to get some good views in February. I'll be again. We were talking about Taika Waititi stuff. What We Do in the Shadows also had a new season this year.
Oh, okay. I think I'm behind by that season.
This is good. This is the year where they try and open a vampire nightclub a la Blade. And they realize that it's very hard, and this is why most vampire nightclubs fail. It's also good stuff for Guillermo, who, really grows a lot as a person in this, and, really starts to challenge Nandor more. It's a comedy show, but with the eye very much on character. Laszlo also starts mentoring young Colin Robinson, because, again, Taika Waititi stuff, it's all about fathers, and you think Laszlo's going to be a shitty father, and he kind of is, but he's trying to be a good father. But yes, it's good shit.
Cool.
Good shit. And that completes the Taika Waititi filleting part of the show. I'm sorry, he does many things I like and did many this year.
I know on top of Andor we had Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan as well.
Yes, which were also good in their own way. I know, again, the internet forever loves to speak in hyperbole. It's like, these were the worst things ever. No, they weren't. They're not even the worst Star Wars things ever.
The worst things to you because you set your expectations way too high, and you immediately thought it was going to be something it wasn't, and they decided to do character work on these two characters, especially Boba Fett, who is
very much.
He's literally just like, oh, cool costume. They actually gave him, a really interesting backstory with those native Tuscans and all that stuff. He doesn't want to be a bounty hunter anymore. Wants to take charge of his life and everything. It's great. It's great.
It's literally every classic Wild West story of like, I was a hardened killer, but now I put my guns in the ground and want to try and start a better life. It's Unforgiven, it's Lawrence of Arabia, it's Last of the Mohicans, it's all these great references. It's Star Wars at its most referencey, and also referencing things that aren't Star Wars. And I feel like a lot of people watching it just wanted their action figure man they grew up with and didn't get any of these references that were being made here.
Yeah, like the biker gang, that's like something very prevalent in I think Mexican culture, because Robert Rodriguez directing it.
It's also it's also the color scheme from American Graffiti too.
Yes. Yeah, the bikes very much look like those 50s dragsters that were in American Graffiti. Again, another George Lucas film.
Yeah, Star Wars referencing stuff that's not Star Wars, which apparently a very loud vocal contingent of people are like, I don't want that. Also, too, visually, they couldn't have been more on the nose. Literally, when Boba Fett comes out of that Sarlacc in the first couple minutes, he is being rebirthed. It is his being reborn moment, and for every moment after that, he's trying to be better. And yes, the best episode is the Din episode, but not for the reason you think it is. It's because Din learns firsthand everything Boba Fett spent 5 episodes saying about how a life of bounty hunting leaves you cold and empty, and your friends will betray you and everything else.
Yeah. And I just want to also point out that the thing of Din coming out, not Din, Boba coming out of the Sarlacc pit, that's literally like how Patton Oswalt explained it in his Parks and Rec episode with the Star Wars Marvel crossover.
Yeah,
so I thought that was quite good.
That's pretty solid. I like that one. That's good. Even I totally lost my train of thought there. But yeah, Boba Fett was better than people gave it credit for. It seems like most people just complained because it wasn't what they wanted to be. The bit with Cad Bane at the end, where we found a lot of people are like, oh, so you're not nearly as hardcore a Star Wars fan as you claim to be because you don't know who Cad Bane is. But here's the thing. you didn't need to know who Cad Bane is, because he literally, in any other story like this, because we're riffing on old Western movies, he could have been English Bob. He could have been Rattlesnake Jake. He could have been any of these Western archetypes.
He's just the man in black, literally.
Yeah, he's literally the man in black. He is a Western movie archetype. It just happens to be a character that we already knew, if you're into the bigger Star Wars universe. And the fact that so many adults had a piss fit over that, again, still does my head in. But yeah, those were solid. Likewise, with Obi-Wan, it actually did a lot of really good work. The fact that we were able to have Obi-Wan and Darth Vader have a lightsaber battle before their big famous one in A New Hope, and they don't step on any toes and they don't make it ridiculous.
No, yeah, it was fantastic. Again, a lot more reserved and character focused. Again, I think people just thought it was going to be like the whole thing in the EU where they did like an Obi-Wan series and he fought Boba Fett and like all these Inquisitors and went to Coruscant and did all this, and like no, you don't need to do any of that.
Also getting to see the proto-rebellion via the path, and also giving Leia a reason to want to become a rebel leader, because she's taken, out of the palace, out of her pampered existence, and basically gets to see how the other half of the universe lives under Imperial tyranny, and that inspires her to do the good work she does. I'm like, yeah, that's good character work too.
Leia being a main character in it wasn't something I actually expected. I expected them to do like the whole Luke thing again. So they kind of upended that. No, we're going to give like Obi-Wan time with Leia this time, because he's had his time with Luke, and he will have his time with Luke. Yeah.
Also, I think we can all agree the best scene ever, friggin' backwoods survivalist Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru ready to bust caps and Siths. Fucking loved that shit.
Yeah, Beru's just got a stock of like Viet Cong weaponry. Jesus Christ, we got these spider holes everywhere. What are you doing, Beru?
See, that's beautiful, because that means definitely that they didn't go down like no punks in A New Hope, that they definitely probably took a bunch of stormtroopers down with them when they got killed.
Yeah.
I love that, giving that back to those characters all those years later. It's like, no. The Larses did not go out like punks, we promise. They died with their boots on, gun blazing. Another show I watched this year that I'm sure you didn't, Hacks Season 2, which ended up being the last season of Hacks because it got fucking bloodled by goddamn Zaslav and HBO Max. Which sucks, because if you love stand-up comedy, and again, other dark comedies about complex characters, this time from the female perspective, it's a real shame. But I also think Hacks ended on a pretty good note too, so like the 2 seasons are actually pretty worth watching, assuming you can still watch it on HBO Max and it's not fucking gone.
Yeah, it's not been deleted from the servers like they're doing with so much shit.
They're deleting classic Looney Tunes episodes. Again, the stuff that built Warner Brothers. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
So disrespectful. Something that isn't disrespectful, and something that was HBO, and something I know you and I both loved, and it came out early in the year, Righteous Gemstones Season 2 was this year.
So good.
And I feel it came out too early. I didn't see it on a lot of people's best of lists because it came out super early, and I feel like a lot of people totally forgot about it.
Yeah, it should have probably come out like around May, just to capitalize on summer and everything. But yeah, it was such a good show.
Eric Andre doing a great turn in this. I won't spoil the role he plays, but he's super funny in this with a really great turn. Some of the best acting from John Goodman in years.
Yeah, he's great in that show. Like that's the only thing I've seen him in recently, but the only thing I can think of like in the last 10 years where he's like, he's actually giving a shit.
He's giving a shit. He's playing a super complex and nuanced character. It's another dark comedy. It's one that comments on, like America's obsession with religion. This one even better because we meet Eric Roberts, who was one of Dr. Gemstone's old friends, who's like a Memphis wrestling promoter. And I'm like, oh yeah, whether you're doing a revival or you're cutting a promo, it's all basically fucking wrestling, isn't it?
It's all the same. Yeah.
It's all the same, just, making people believe shit that's not true.
Yeah.
And it's really great. Again, it's hard to believe that this is like the same team that did like those last 2 Halloween movies.
Yeah, it's really strange, isn't it, to think?
Yeah, it's the same. Danny McBride is great. Again, he's a dude who's basically made a career out of being complex characters who you're not sure if you should like or not.
Yeah.
what is it? Edie Patterson, or is that her name?
Yes,
the one who
yeah,
plays the sister.
Edie Patterson. Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's fantastic on this, playing one of the most like ridiculous laugh out loud characters. And hey, she's in two things. She's actually in a movie I really like this year too. Haven't watched Yellow Jackets yet, Chemdog. I've watched the first episode. I know the twist, and I'll have to go back and finish it. And hey, Christina Ricci's in that too.
Hey.
But yeah, Righteous Gemstones season 2, awesome. Can't wait for season 3. A great example of a great season 2 that built on everything that came in season 1.
Yeah, do we know when season 3 is happening?
No, I don't think we do. I know there's going to be one. I think, in fact, they got renewed for 2 extra seasons.
Ooh, interesting.
So it's going to be there for a while. I imagine it will probably come back around the same time Succession comes back.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I know they were weirdly kind of like sister shows for a little bit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, Righteous Gemstones is great. If you haven't watched it, it's a really great watch.
Really cool.
Yeah, mystery and drama and comedy and, social commentary. It's all very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Another show I know you and I both loved this year, Barry season 3.
Oh, Barry is so good.
Someone in the chat said, is that the show with, if there's not a muffin in the first 15 minutes? Yeah, Barry is that one we're thinking of.
Yeah, the algorithm. They have to have a muffin in the first 15 minutes, or like 50% of the audience won't stop watching us on it. Yeah, it's great.
Which you're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then you see how they cancel shows willy-nilly, and it's like, no,
well, like how YouTube works, or like how the algorithm on YouTube works, and you're like, oh yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you said the word green in the first 10 seconds, so your watchability went right down. Green's not a creative color, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just love Barry, that like when you like look at the show, or like the premise of the show, it's a hitman, he stops being a hitman to become like an actor. You're like, oh, that's funny. Bill Hader and all the Henry Winkler and all these funny people, Sarah Goldman and all that, and you think, oh, it's got to be a comedy, and like the first show opens with him like murdering a bunch of people, and then it just gets darker and darker and darker.
It's amazing how dark the show can get while still actually being funny.
Yeah.
It's amazing these, this tightrope that it walks, and it really shows Bill Hader, for maybe one of the best like actors of his generation, where it's like, oh, you can make us laugh, and you also have this like unfathomable darkness in you at the same time. Oh,
it's so good. Like my favorite part, again, it's meant to be like kind of terrifying, but it's also funny, was that bike chase they did.
Yes,
like,
oh my god.
Where it's like, oh, he's being like literally hunted by people who are like shooting at him and everything. It's meant to be intense.
We got stunts now.
But then it's like kind of funny. They're like driving over the top of like a car dealership, and like people are screaming at him and everything, and it's great. It's so cool.
It's astounding, and it's also like, it's just such a brutal like satire of Hollywood, where Barry is clearly this, unfeeling but trying to learn how to feel psychopath, who puts up this fake front. He's a terrible actor, but he's an excellent actor because, he's able to trick these people, but he's only able to trick them because it's Hollywood and everyone is so fake and superficial.
Everyone's a psychopath in Hollywood, so he fits right in.
He fits right in. Everyone is a psychopath in their own way. And this episode, or this season especially, I loved what they did. They almost did like a Sinister Six thing, where like the families and friends of Barry's victims from the previous seasons come back to try and kill him.
Yeah, it's great, and I like all the stuff that was happening with his girlfriend, quote unquote.
Yeah.
With like her show, and again like goes into like the whole like Hollywood thing, where like you'll have a show, but then 5 minutes later it'll probably be completely cancelled and you'll be blacklisted in Hollywood.
For no good reason.
Yeah,
it's just it's all
algorithm.
Random. Yeah, the algorithm. Does anyone work here anymore? Does any human actually make choices anymore? And the answer is no. No, they do not.
No.
Yeah, but Barry is one of those shows where it's like, how did they even make this show? How did they even greenlight this?
It's so good.
And then you got the Chechen and everything going on with him, to where like he's almost like the sanest and most likable of them, and you really root for his relationship, and you hope it all goes okay for him.
Yeah. Oh, he's great.
And that even he continues to suffer for being in Barry's orbit, because he is just like this black hole.
Yeah, NoHo Hank is just fantastic.
Can you believe he was only supposed to be in the pilot, but they loved him so much they kept bringing him back?
Yeah, he was meant to die in that car where like Barry like shot him all.
Mm-hmm. But he's just the best.
Yeah.
Abbott Elementary season 2, also great. Have you been watching Abbott, Matt? It's on Disney Plus here in Canada, which
I have, but I've seen like clips and stuff of it. Yeah,
it's Justin Halpern. It's the guy who produces Harley Quinn and everything. It's the funniest modern like single camera sitcom in like a very long time.
Oh, that's saying something.
I know it is, and here's the funny thing: it was also not supposed to be made. It was a mid-season replacement. It was like never supposed to see television.
Oh, okay.
And it did, and it found this huge audience, and it's just just so much of the stuff that they make fun of just like the American school system and how broken it is, but how people keep having to come in every day and try to make it work.
Yeah, yeah.
Quinetta Bunsen is also just great, you know, because it's like her show too. She writes and directs and she stars, and she's just a lot of fun. And also, good on her, because she's been like scraping at it for like years, because she came from the internet. Did you know that?
Oh, really?
Yes, she was on like you know those friggin' like Google shows where they would have where it's like, you know, oh, people try blank for the first time, or like whatever. She was one of those people on one of those shows because she was just like a funny, interesting person in LA. I think the video that she was in that went really viral and went viral again when the show got big was like, oh, we give drunk girls puppies. So it's her just super drunk. Yes, BuzzFeed. Thank you, Functorial. It was BuzzFeed. So it's her and a bunch of other women just smashed, and they give them puppies and they cry. It's just hilarious.
That's great.
And now she's one of the biggest names on television. And I'm like, wow, fucking humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Good on you. Whenever someone makes it out of the goddamn internet, I'm like, hell yeah, we can all do it. Well, we can't all do it, but I'm glad you did it. But yeah, so that's, I guess 2 more last shows that I really enjoyed. Cyberpunk Edge Runners, my one anime of the year.
It was great.
It was great. So good it made me start playing Cyberpunk again. Amazing soundtrack. I'm still bumping the soundtrack. Rat Boy Slim. It's just that good. It's really solid. And also Pantheon, which was also very much a cyberpunky, anime-inspired science fiction romp. In fact, you know, if you want to see my thoughts on it, I co-wrote a whole video about it over on the Johnny Two Cellos channel. So check that out and see if you can pick out what stuff I wrote.
Nice.
Trust me, you can hear my voice. It's like, wow, this thing's really belabored and verbose. I think Joel wrote this part. But yeah, so that's basically all the shows. Good ass year for TV. Did you have anything else, Matt, that I might have missed?
Superman and Lois.
Oh, fuck yeah, Superman and Lois. Yeah, man. Continuing to go super strong, you know, from strength to strength, and just being like one of the best Superman things.
Again, taking elements, like familiar elements of Superman, and changing them up enough where it still respects the core canon, and you know, makes it fit in with the universe they've got now, and just fantastic. Because the second season all about like Bizarro yes. world and everything, and
loved what they did with it.
It's fantastic, just brilliant.
Man, also making Bizarro not the villain of it, making him this tragic character who you feel bad for. And I'm like, yeah, that's closer to comic Bizarro actually.
Exactly, yeah.
He's not a bad guy. He just doesn't know what he's doing most of the time.
Yeah, it was great. I liked the villain, Ali Elstrom. She was a great villain. I quite enjoyed her and her little group of people who all spoke backwards.
Mm-hmm. As you pointed out to me there, it's like, really? So the villain of this Superman show is a woman named Ali in a cult, huh? Is that a Smallville reference?
Yeah.
I mean, no one got branded.
That we know of.
Yeah, the chat saying Stargirl too. Yeah, Stargirl ended this season, unfortunately. It ended on a strong note. They actually kind of jumped to the future, and they're like, and here's all the other adventures the JSA had.
Yeah, we're going to see Stargirl again in Titans, apparently, because they're doing like a crossover.
I ain't fucking watching that.
Hey, if they can somehow make it so that Stargirl is like the reason why these heroes decide, okay, we're going to stop being all grim and gritty, and we're actually going to be like fun and enjoyable, then that'd be good. They need Pat to come over and give him a talking to.
He really does. Pat could sort them all out in just a couple minutes.
Exactly.
Now you kids, y'all need to calm the fuck down is what you need to do. Man, Pat's so fucking cool in that season 2, digging his way out of his own grave, putting on his old costume and getting a goddamn flamethrower. It's like, I'm gonna go kill Icicle so he doesn't hurt my kids.
Yeah, he's fucking sick of it all.
He is. Oh yeah, I guess Miss Marvel was this year too. Miss Marvel was good. So was Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if they made my best list, but they were good.
Yeah, they were good. So was She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, She-Hulk too. She-Hulk, a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Again, with a really strong ending that went for broke, and that again, a lot of people didn't seem to understand. Again, because it was playing with genre. This is how a genre show like this ends.
And this is how a She-Hulk comic would end.
Would end. No big fights, nothing like that. The status quo is returned. Also, hey, it's the show that gave us Daredevil back.
Yes, it is.
Yes, with his yellow costume and him moving around like he does in the books. What's not to love?
It's great.
Good stuff. We want to, I guess, for some shows I didn't watch this year. I never watched Severance, even though everyone said Severance was great.
Yeah.
That's on my list of ones I'll need to get to. I'll need to get to Severance.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, again, no one's really spoiled any of the twists and turns on that one, so that's pretty good.
Same, yeah.
So I'll get to that, and I'll get to Yellow Jackets, I promise.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we can hop into movies then. And thankfully, with the extra time, I've watched 10 whole movies. So where would you like to start, Matt?
One a month. Well, I actually went and saw Avatar yesterday.
Oh yeah, how was that? I'm hearing great things about it.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fucking long, but yeah, it's. I mean, it's fine. Again, like I can't remember who I saw on Twitter say it, but like, yeah, the movie's making like loads of money, which means loads of people are seeing it. You never see anyone talking about it.
No, but then again, I guess that is, like a thing we really learned this year when it came to House of the Dragon and like all this other stuff.
Well, at least with those you'd see memes and stuff. I haven't really seen any like memes or stuff like that takes on Avatar.
I mean, I guess it just proves that there really is still a strong Joe and Jane popcorn audience who are not chronically online like we are, who maybe only see a couple movies every year and want to make sure that it's the most fucking bang for their buck movie possible. And that's what James Cameron seems to promise every 14 years. This will be the most movie you've ever movied.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. It looks fantastic. It's got great action in it. It's got a pretty cool story with like the whales and all the sea tribes and everything. It's pretty cool. But yeah,
the first one was all about save the trees. This one's about save the whales.
Save the whales, and I don't know what the next one's going to be.
Recycle.
Yeah,
save the ozone. Actually, we did that already.
Yeah, I do remember. I did find it funny because in the first one how they had was it unobtainium?
Yes.
Like ore. That's not even mentioned at all in here.
Is it not?
There's like a third act like twist where like, oh, we kill these whales because these whales have like this serum in them that like just stops human aging. Just stops it. And it's like, well, where the fuck did that come from?
Well, we need a reason. We just can't say,
what's the next one gonna be?
Well, apparently it's gonna be about the Fire Tribe.
Yeah, the Ash people.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be about, like, emissions or something, like you're putting too much smoke in the air.
They've been throwing car batteries into Pandora's volcanoes or something.
Exactly. It's going to all be about e-waste. You didn't properly recycle your laptop battery. I can't wait for that 14 years from now. Yeah. I'm happy people enjoy Avatar, but it's one of those things where it's like I'm in no particular rush.
Yeah. I just saw it just because like I had a chance to with some people.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, I checked that out. It was all right. But yeah, it's definitely a movie where it's like, check it if you can, if you have like a window, but like just wait for it to come out.
It also sounds like one of those things too, where it's like if you're not gonna see it in the theater, like what are you even doing? Because that seems to be where you get the most bang for it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, it probably look good on like 4K.
That's true. There's a lot of good 4K. I finally joined the 4K club this year, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. I really do recognize the difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess for movies this year, should we start with something superhero related? Because there was two on here who I felt I really needed to include. Mm-hmm. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, obviously, which I think stood head and shoulders over a lot of the good outings this year. Mm-hmm. And obviously The Batman, where it's like, oh yeah, so you can make a good DC movie still, huh?
yeah, when you just leave the artists behind it to just do their thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the 4K DVD version of The Batman. I meant to watch it, but it's a big investment because it's 3 goddamn hours.
Yes,
that's really the only bad thing I can say about it. It's not even really a bad thing. It's just when you're ready to watch this, you better be ready to sit down for it, much like The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, absolutely.
this is a biggie. But yeah, Robert Pattinson, I think, won a lot of people's hearts and minds over as, you know, a new Batman. Paul Dano did some really fun stuff as the Riddler. We got a great new Gordon. We got a great new Alfred. We got a great new Penguin.
Yeah, they're all really damn good. I'm really looking forward to that Penguin show now with Colin Farrell.
Same. Colin Farrell, who had a great year this year with After Yang and The Banshee of Inisherin, 2 movies I have not seen yet, but I know he had a good year. Batman punches people real hard in this new movie.
He does. Really fucking hard.
Really fucking harder than ever, I would say. He takes the adrenaline drug and get big and strong and beats up all the internet nerds.
Yeah.
Again, another way in which I can say this is probably the most topical a Batman or DC movie has been in a long time, where it's like, geez, you know, who's the greatest threat to our world as it stands right now? You know, is it alien invaders? Is it demons from another planet? No, it's internet weirdos with too much easy access to guns is the problem.
It's internet weirdos with 500 subscribers.
Which he thought was a whole lot.
just the most outlandish thing in the movie. 500 subscribers, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I guess if you had 500 subscribers who were able to solve your riddle and find your secret dark web stream and were willing to pick up guns, I mean, how many people stormed the Capitol? Like, is that what it was supposed to be? Like, is it a reference to that I'm not getting?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, and great Catwoman, too, who I get the distinct feeling they're probably going to spin her off into something, because Zoe Kravitz is great.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's really good. Very, very scene commanding, and also not afraid to tell this Batman to shut the fuck up, which I really liked about this movie, that this Batman was just, like, really human and really fallible, and he makes mistakes, and he falls down, but he gets back up and tries again anyway.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, even the final reveal where it's like, really, the ultimate solution to the riddle was just over there the whole time?
Literally in front of us the entire time.
Yeah, man, give it a couple years and this won't surprise you anymore. Again, it really did feel like a Batman who was starting out. It really did feel like Batman Year 2.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate that it wasn't a Batman that, you know, knew how to do everything, had like a contingency for everything, you know, the Bat God whole thing, you know. He didn't resort to like just, I don't know what this is, so I'll just kill this person, you know.
Probably one of the best car chase scenes in the Year 2.
Yeah.
Not the best, though. We'll talk about the best one in a minute. Black Panther, we of course devoted a whole episode to talking about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. It's a movie that feels like a miracle on so many levels, because it could have fucked up and could have fallen into so many pitfalls, but it didn't, and the fact that it doesn't makes it soar that much higher.
Yeah, it was such a good film. I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to watching it again once it releases on home media. Yeah, it was fantastic, and I'm looking forward to seeing where these characters go from here. Like, again, like as I said when we were talking about it in our initial review, like there's that whole thing of like, oh, this is cool, a new Black Panther. Yeah, but the actor's kind of a weirdo, or kind of a weirdo. I'm kind of hoping they get over that in the coming years, though.
Yeah, well, thankfully too, they were sure to elevate everyone in the cast and being like, look, we got the Midnight Angel over here, and we got M'Baku, and we got Ironheart, and we got lots of places to take this, everyone, in case someone should say something stupid. And hey, Wasp, that goes for double for you. We're watching this too, you weird fucking trucker woman. But yeah, I mean, people say all the time where it's like, you know, oh, when will the superhero movie bubble burst? You know, when will regular audiences finally have enough? You know, when will it stop dominating the box office? And to them, I say, if they keep making movies like Wakanda Forever and The Batman, probably not for a very long time.
Yeah.
Because they're both very good examples of like, oh, you can actually do so much and go so far, and you can completely reinvent the wheel on this one and make it feel like, you know, you're seeing this story for the first time.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It was a really good year. And obviously, you know, like, we liked Love and Thunder, and how I really liked Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, 2 very good films, yeah.
So in general, I would say this was a good year. And obviously, you know, people will rank. It's like, oh, I thought this was better than that. And I thought there was like no outright stinkers. There was Morbius. Shit, I forgot about Morbius.
The best film of 2022.
The best of them all. You know what? If they keep making Morbiuses, then yes, the bubble will burst.
It made so much money that they can't actually report how much money it made.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, and Black Adam, which, I was in no rush to see, and now that I know all the behind the scenes with it and all the fuckery,
Not
now I
worth
know
it.
I really don't want to see it.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah, cool. Man, how many leftover Black Adam dolls were there this year at Christmas?
They're gonna be the new Constables of Uo from Star
Yeah,
Wars.
oh, that's a shame. Poor poor The Rock. I guess he'll just, have to dry his eyes on his money and his big muscles. Some other good stuff that came out this year. Well, we talked about the best chase scene, and this was a hell of a year because we got Michael Bay back at peak Michael Bay because we got Ambulance this year.
I watched it. I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as some people. I'm like, yeah, this is fine.
We're officially at the point now where it's like being oversold. Like in the last couple weeks when everyone were putting their list together, it went to being really oversold, which is a shame because I saw it when I came out and I'm like, oh, wow, this was a fucking kick-ass action movie. This might be
I saw it when it came out as well, yeah.
I thought this was a pretty kick-ass action movie. I love that Michael Bay is maturing as a creator, and he's like, yo, hey, look at these drone shots I can do now.
I reckon that was only because it was like during COVID and stuff. And it's like, and someone like, I don't know, was probably fucking around on set with like a drone. It's like, hey, put that in the film. There was way too many drone shots. Like for things that didn't even need it either. Like they've gone through the fucking bank and everything, and I'm like, you don't need a drone shot here.
I sure do. Gotta keep.
It's like I got this guy for an hour. We need to do it.
Gotta do all the drone shots. But yeah, really cool. Like again, if you like car stunts and if you like driving shit, we didn't have a Fast and the Furious this year, but we had an Ambulance.
Yeah, the driving stuff in it was pretty good.
It's pretty sick. If you're into that sort of thing. Again, it's Michael Bay actually playing to his strengths for a change.
Yeah, and Jake Gyllenhaal plays a really charming psychopath.
He really does. I'm like, oh yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's pretty cool. I forgot about that. and the new girl they got, her name escapes me, but this is like the new action girl that they have now.
Okay.
Because there's the, like one in every movie. There's time to be knighted. You are knighted new action girl now. And she's also pretty good, and there's just a lot of fun stuff in that one. Yeah, if you skipped Ambulance, because you're not normally a Michael Bay one, I give that the Cape Joel seal of approval. It's actually a pretty fun way to spend an evening, and I know for a fact this is one of those movies that's going to live for fucking ever on TV.
Oh, yeah, it'll be syndicated for the next 99 years, yeah.
Yes, this is the TBS, movie for a rained out ball game. This is, this is the dad night movie. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of this one. So if you didn't see Ambulance, don't feel bad because you're going to get a chance to.
Well, speaking of like dad night movies, did you see Top Gun Maverick?
I did not, but apparently everyone fucking loved it because like that and Avatar made $1 billion and kept theaters, alive for another year.
It's so fucking good.
Is it? Is it really?
It's the third act of Star Wars: A New Hope,
but
for
really?
2 hours.
Oh shit!
The whole premise of the movie is they need to be trained to do a trench run.
Huh. I mean, I guess he's one of those guys where it's like don't count out the space poke Tom Cruise because he'll only come back stronger.
Yeah, Tom Cruise actually went out and started a war with an unnamed country to warrant this. Yeah.
Good
he shot down 3 people.
Yeah. He's method, man. He's really, really method. I mean, it's on DVD now, right? So maybe that's something to pop into the big TV. It's been forever since I've seen, like, the original Top Gun, so, like, I feel like I have to see that before I see the sequel.
You don't. It's literally the exact same.
Okay. Well, that's good, then.
Yeah.
All right. That's on the maybe I'll see it thing. I also didn't have enough time to see Nope. I really wanted to see Nope, though.
Nope is so good. Don't get the end spoiled for you. I didn't, and it was fucking amazing. No one has yet. Like, Jordan Peele loves anime.
Okay, I like that. I mean, he's the right age for it. I didn't get to see that horror movie, but I did see a good horror movie in Barbarian, though, and I'm glad I got to see it.
Yeah, I saw this one, too. Again, nothing was spoiled for me on this either.
And Jordan Peele kind of involved in this one, apparently. Apparently, the writer-director talked to him a lot during the production of this.
Okay.
It's a really clever concept. I would love to tell you about it, but if I did, that kind of deflates it. It's a spooky house movie, basically, is what it is, but the spooky house is an Airbnb.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot of that, and it's pretty friggin' solid, and, the design work is great, and they do a lot of great, like, pulling back to see stuff in, like, different eras, which is super strong.
Yeah, and Bill Skarsgård was in it, and he was in a role
Yeah, he
that
was.
was very different to what he usually plays.
Tell me about it. I know, he was really good in it, and Justin Long surprised me, and I'm like, man, Justin Long should be in more horror movies.
Yeah, he's great.
Justin Long playing a very complex character in this movie where the themes are all about red flags, and he's just like, I don't know if I should like this guy. And the movie's like, maybe you shouldn't. Really? The director of Barbarian was on Whitest Kids You Know? Seriously?
Oh, really? Holy shit. All
Holy
these fucking
shit.
comedy guys doing horror,
Yeah,
man.
what is it that, like, modern horror is being saved by people who used to do comedy? Jordan Peele, Whitest Kids You Know guy, friggin' Danny McBride. I mean, I guess a good joke and a good scare is very similar. You got to build it up, you got to set the stage, and then you got to, snap the trap, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
One just makes people feel good, and one makes people feel bad. Is what it is. What were some other ones we had this year that I know we both enjoyed? Oh, Northman.
Oh, yes, Northman was fantastic.
Fucking Norse Conan. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very good, it's just Conan, isn't it?
Yeah, big, long take action movie. The story itself is, I think, based on, like, Prince Hamlet, which, of course, sounds a lot like Hamlet because, it's about a dude trying to avenge his murdered father, at the hands of his shitty uncle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a hell of a thing. Just, really solid action scenes, really great direction where it's like, again, magical realism. It's like, is this really happening, or is he just tripping balls with Willem Dafoe? I don't know.
Yeah, and barking like a dog, and
Willem Dafoe is in it, playing a magic man. By which I mean he didn't act at all. He just showed up on screen.
Yeah.
The movie also finds a way to end with a goddamn volcano. I didn't see that coming.
I know, yeah. It's like, oh, holy shit, we're going to set this on a volcano. There's lava and shit. What the fuck's going on?
More of this, please. More weirdo art house action movies is basically what this was. It's like one of those movies where it's like, wow, this is going to please all the film snobs out there. The history snobs are going to have something to enjoy, and the action junkies are going to have something to enjoy. This basically brings all men together, The Northman.
It's really funny to think, because this is directed by Robert Eggers, who did The Witch.
Oh, really?
Which is, like a movie that's completely different to this. And like, if people like saw this film and then went, oh, watch the other movies this guy directed, they'll be very disappointed, because The Witch is nothing like this at all. And
wow,
it's funny because, like, I remember he was complaining about, like, the film not, because it was like a blockbuster-y sort of film, and he was complaining that it was like that. And I'm like, but it's like great. It's a fucking good one. Like, loads of people love it. Like, what's the problem, dude?
Chat's mentioning RRR. I have not seen it yet. It is on Netflix. It's on my list. Again,
it's pretty fucking good.
I want to prepare myself for it. I know it's like the big foreign film that everyone's like, no, but seriously, this fucking whips all the ass. I need to prepare myself for the night for RR to give it my full, undivided attention. Again, I've seen the trailers, I've seen the gifs of it, and it looks like it whips ass.
It's pretty good. Ray Stevenson's in it.
Oh shit, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where Ray Stevenson went, huh?
Yeah, and he has like a really fucking cool action scene.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. This was a good year for movies that said fuck the British and fuck colonialism. Again, I think it says a lot about where we all are culturally right now, where so many of the best stories are like these, colonialism revenge movies, basically.
Yeah.
Let's just go back in time and whoop a British guy in his silly fucking hat. Really hard. But yeah, it's on Netflix. I will definitely see that, Bland Boy. It's definitely on my list. I gotta check that one out.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of historical action movies, which it turned out to be a really great fucking year for, actually, Prey.
Oh man, Prey was so good, wasn't it?
Prey is so sick, and it's a movie I love showing people.
I know, yeah, because you don't like expect like what it is to be. Like what it is, like it's a Native American girl hunts a fucking predator.
Yeah, it's such a shame that they didn't get to do what they wanted with this movie, and that is stealth release it and trick people into thinking it wasn't a Predator movie.
Yeah, I kind of wish they did that, because they did that with that Cloverfield Paradox movie where they just like dropped it, and like people like lost their minds over it. But yeah, I really wish they would have been able to do that.
Stunts are great. Action scenes are great. The main character is great. Like, this is a star-making role for her. I love that they shot a version of this that was actually in like the actual.
Yes, you can watch it on, or at least here on Disney Plus. You can.
In the actual native language.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid. That's a great idea. Also, it's a movie that shows where it's like, again, people are like, oh, the Predator franchise is dead. There's no more, juice to wring out of this. Nah, man, you just got to get really creative for it. In fact, you need to make like 3 more Predator movies that are crazy period pieces.
Also, I love that it connects to Predator 2.
Yeah, it does.
Which I thought was like, I didn't think it was going to connect to anything, but it fucking did. So it's like, oh, it's canon. It's canon.
Comanche, yes, thank you. But yeah, I want to see a Predator movie in fucking feudal Japan. I want to see one in like the American Old West. Hell, I want to see one in like friggin' British occupied India is what I want.
Ooh, that'd be good. That'd be good because it had aspects of like the second one where like the Predator came to the city because it was like hot and like really arid and there was lots of violence and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's so many places you could go that needs to be the new thing now for Predator moving forward.
Yeah, do and then like maybe do like a mainline one, quote unquote, where it's like set in the future or something, or some storyline or something. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I think there's a lot of great places they could go there. The chat mentioned Hellraiser too. You said there was a really good Hellraiser movie this year.
Yes, by David Bruckner. He released like, it's not really a. It's like a sequel rebooty sort of thing, kind of like resetting a lot of the stuff that's happened in the other film. There was like 10 of these fuckers, and they were all terrible past like the second one. But yeah, this kind of goes back to like Clive Barker roots, and it's just weird and like kind of horny.
Nice. That's what it needs to be. It needs to be both those things.
It's got great effects in it, like monster effects and stuff, because it's all like practical.
Right.
So like, and all the designs and stuff for like the Cenobites are really cool as well.
Love it.
And and the new Pinhead is a trans woman, which is really cool.
I remember that was a big deal because the Pinhead that was described by Barker in the original story,
very androgynous.
Very androgynous. It only became a more male-facing Pinhead later, and of course, people who don't know their fucking horror history blew a gasp and like, can you believe that they're putting gay in Hellraiser? It's like, Clive Barker is gay. You idiot.
Clive Barker would be all about that shit.
Yeah, they're super. Did the freaking monster leather daddies with their BDSM not tip you off, my guy?
That's like half his stories as well. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's like literally what most of them are about.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because I know friggin' poor Hellraiser fans have been starving basically for years. It's nice they got a good one.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they get like a sequel or something out of that with the same people.
Hopefully they do. Again, as the chat brought up too, of course, I think the movie that was on everyone's list, and the one that rightly so is probably going to get showered by awards at the end of the year. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
It was a fucking great year for multiversal movies, wasn't it?
It was. Like, Hollywood's finally caught up and were like, hey, this multiverse thing, this gives us so many opportunities.
And like an art house A24 movie too, being like, maybe we should do a multiverse movie.
Yeah, with Michelle Yeoh.
Who's fucking amazing, who acts her goddamn ass off in this, and is like, wow, she's a national treasure.
She's great, yeah.
Also, Everything Everywhere All at Once is, such a perfect codifier for the year because it's like 2022 was a year that loved multiverses.
Mm-hmm.
It was also a year that loved confronting generational trauma in Asian women because we had that. We had Miss Marvel doing the same thing, and we had Turning Red, which I also really enjoyed, that was also on my list for Best Animated, that also dealt with generational trauma in Asian women. And I'm like, wow, what an interesting time for all these things to hit at once. And it's also just like a movie where it's like, how did you even get this made? It's an action comedy family drama with kung fu and like metaphysical ideas and everything. It really is everything all at once.
It is, yeah. It was so good.
And also, what a beautiful message at the end that I think as like fans of Superman we really gel with, where it's like you win not through violence but with kindness and by like fixing everyone's trauma. to make them the best versions of themselves, because maybe in this great multiverse we are the best versions of ourselves and we just don't know. And I'm like, man, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
That's pretty good. I like that. It ended up being a really feel-good movie. Again, we said this was a great year for dark comedies. This ended up being a great moment for like a genuine feel-good movie.
Yeah.
Genuinely feel-good. I had two more. What about you? Did you have any more?
What two did you have?
I had Glass Onion.
Yes, yeah, that was a good film.
Just came out. Talk about a movie that ended up being way more timely than we thought it would be. Hey, did you know tech billionaires suck and are ruining the world?
Yeah, I bet when like all the shit like with Elon Musk and Twitter came out and like Ryan Johnson was just getting ready to debut the film, he was gleefully clapping.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's made it relevant, yes.
I bet he laughed and laughed. He's like, oh, I was talking about Zuckerberg and some other people, but oh, yeah, everyone's going to think I'm talking about Musk and Twitter. And maybe that's why it's a great movie, because you can literally superimpose it on anything and it works.
Well, it works even better with Musk as well, just because like the whole... again, for people who haven't really... there's a spoilers for it. The bad guy, Edward Norton, who I picked out as the bad guy like straight away because it's fucking Edward Norton.
And because it's a glass onion, it only looks complex from the outside. It's very easy, and you can look right through it.
Yeah, it's so dumb. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
To which Benoit Blanc says, "This is so dumb."
Yeah, exactly. His whole thing is like he stole the idea for his company, which basically what like Musk does. Like he takes all the fucking credit for like Tesla and everything, where it's just like actually like a bunch of scientists and shit doing it.
It's also very Zuckerberg, and it's also very the Facebook guy, which it's true of all tech people. Most of them never actually fucking earned any of it. They just slapped their name on it.
But no one says anything because they're on the titty.
Yeah,
as Benoit says, they're on the
golden titty.
They're on the titty.
Which is so beautiful. Like, this movie just, like, sums up things so perfectly. Like, well, why don't you say anything about, because you're on the golden titty. Or the other one where it's like, I'm a disruptor. I speak my mind, and people can't handle that. Well, you know what? If you're speaking without thinking, then I think you've got a real fucking problem, basically. or if you're mistaking speaking without thinking to speaking your mind, then you got a real fucking problem, lady.
Kate Hudson in that role. That was such a good role for her. So good.
She's scary good at it. She's like scary good at it. And it's like, it's just a beautiful, like, you know, evolution of like the Agatha Christie, Sherlock Holmes parlor mysteries, where it's like, oh, you got a mystery on top of a mystery on top of a mystery. It's a glass onion. Yeah,
the mystery that how we learn like Benoit got like taken there and everything, like that blew my mind. And then of course there's like the mystery on top of that mystery. And everything, and it's just so good. I like Daniel Craig. Is like, he looks like he's actually having some fun.
Oh, he's having a fucking play. It's funny to think that like Benoit Blanc may end up being like more iconic than his time as James Bond after only like 2 movies.
Well, you look at you look at his James Bond films compared to like this, and he's just like fucking miserable. Like like not in the character sense, but like as an actor, you can tell like, oh, he's not having fun at all doing this role.
Because let's face it, there was maybe like only 2 good James Bond movies he was in, and then they like undid the good stuff in the next one.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I want 100 Benoit Blanc movies now.
I know, yeah. I just keep changing them and like giving him like maybe I reckon they should change like the genres as well.
Maybe
with it as well. Like, this one's like kind of sci-fi-ish. This one's a horror. This one's like inspired by Italian giallo films or something.
You could do it.
Yeah.
You could do it, and I think Ryan Johnson has like that pedigree in him. And of course, we mentioned him before, but Dave Bautista, man.
Oh, he's so good in this.
Dave Bautista as the Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson, men's rights activist shithead.
Yeah, the biggest guy on Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah, who lives with his mother, and you know,
it's all a sham. Yeah.
It's all a fuck shit. He used to be a professional gamer. Which I love.
Yeah.
And he used to have hair. Which is also fine. He's amazing. I truly think, you know, he is, you know, charting new waters for wrestlers turned actors.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, like you listen to like him talking about how he did it. It was like he didn't just like you see like The Rock, and I guess like to a lesser extent when John Cena started out, they just like
Yeah.
came over to it's like, oh, it's just like wrestling except the camera rolls now for like longer scenes and stuff. But he's like, no, I'm actually going to go and get like acting lessons and
yes,
like,
he went to school,
learn how to do this properly and everything.
He's wonderful. He's become one of the most interesting actors because of that.
Absolutely. And his choices in roles as well are really interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't just keep taking the tough guy in everything.
Yeah, he was in fucking Blade Runner and everything.
Yeah, he actually wants like roles he can sink his teeth into, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Another one that I just saw just near the end was Violent Night.
Yes.
The David Harbour Santa Meets Die Hard movie.
Yes, this is pretty good. Pretty good.
Man, like, they could have just been really lazy on the concept, but they, like, actually think about it and really dig deep in it. In fact, there's a bit in the movie where John Leguizamo, who's playing the Alan Rickman type, basically, like, fires off 5 other shittier versions of what the movie could have been but wasn't.
Yeah. The one thing I really liked about the film, which I didn't get explained to me until I saw the film, which I'm kind of glad about, was that I just thought like David Harbour was just playing like a drunk mall Santa who just gets involved. No, he's literally playing like Santa with magic and everything, which I thought was really fucking cool.
He's the real deal, and it's this beautiful idea. Like, we've seen like takes on this before, like, oh, you know, Santa's a drunk, Santa's down on his luck. Oh no, this is a Santa who has been so, like, you know, grinded down by Amazon and like kids who want more and more that it's driven him to drink. But more importantly, Santa doesn't believe in himself anymore.
And then just on top of that, you got like the hints that like, oh, Santa was like a bloodthirsty like Viking warrior. Yeah, it was fucking great.
It's what a beautiful bit too with that. It's like, well, what was Santa's Viking weapon of choice? Oh, a hammer? Oh, because a hammer is a weapon of war, but also something used to build, especially wooden toys. He traded one hammer for another. Great use of Christmas music in this one. A truly hilarious and very violent, like, what if we did Home Alone, but what if it was actually realistic?
Yeah, oh, it was great.
Also, hey, the dad in that's fucking Vicious from the goddamn Cowboy Bebop show everyone hated.
Yes, and it's the guy who played Translucent in The Boys.
Wow, what a fucking year, or what a fucking couple of years that dude has had.
Yeah.
Great twist with the family dynamic. Love John Leguizamo in this. I have always been a huge fan. He's 62 years old. Can you believe that?
He doesn't look it. He does not look it.
No, he does not. Like, my thing was like, oh, geez, it looks like he put on a little weight here. And then I looked, I'm like, he is 62? Well, he looks amazing for 62.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Violent Night's also one of those few movies where it's like, oh, yeah, this is instantly in my Christmas rotation now. This made it. This is going to be here every year. And you know what? I hope they keep the Die Hard thing up. I hope they do a sequel next year where it's in an airport. There's a big snowstorm in an airport. I don't know. Maybe it's like friggin' Air Force One. And like, oh, will Santa be able to deliver presents to the president's kids? And like, oh, there's a terrorist attack happening at an airport during a blizzard and Santa has to go and stop it for some reason.
There you go. Yeah, that's what you do.
Look, I'm just saying, riff on every Die Hard movie now, even the bad one.
Yeah, yeah.
Just keep going. No, I didn't see the menu. I heard mixed things on the menu, actually.
That's coming, I think, to Netflix very soon, which I was going to check out.
I know some reviews I read said it's a little stuck up its own ass there because it's like a movie about movie criticism, which always ends up feeling really tedious sometimes.
Yes.
And the hero is one of those people who are like, oh, well, I'm just an average Joe, and that's my amazing superpower that, you know, I'm not hoity-toity like these other people are. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, God, this is going to be rough.
Yeah.
Which, apparently, if you want a movie like that, a movie about criticism, apparently you should see Tar, because Tar actually has, like, a lot of teeth and a lot of fucking venom in it, actually.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I've been meaning to see that.
Someone did spoil the ending to me, and I think you will particularly like the ending to it, Matt, because when I saw it, I'm like, fuck off, really? This was a 2-hour art movie, and that's the last 5 minutes? This was a joke. You told a 2-hour-long joke. Fucking bravo, guys. That's stellar. I guess for comedy, we haven't talked much about comedy. I think Jackass Forever was probably the funniest movie I saw this year. I didn't see Bro. I didn't see a lot of traditional comedies, but I thought Jackass Forever was great.
I did not see it.
You did not see Jackass Forever?
The one thing that put me off was I saw a clip and it was like I don't think it was the newer like people they got in, because some of them those are actually pretty funny. But it was like it was like a YouTuber or something, or like some
Machine Gun Kelly.
It might have been him, might have been someone else, but I'm like, if this is what you're doing, I'm not interested.
He has one short segment, and I'll say it's probably the most likable that guy is, because it's like, oh shit, you're like younger than me, which means you grew up watching the Jackass guys too, so you actually do genuinely love and appreciate them in a way that's not superficial, and you actually wanted to be part of a stunt. Okay, you know what? That makes you weirdly endearing. There's a lot of that in this movie where like people hang out with them. It's like, well, why is this guy hanging out with them? It's like, oh yeah, because the Jackass guys are old now. That's why.
Yeah, they can't be doing this shit.
Yeah, the new cast is great. They're all very funny.
They did seem very funny from the little clips I've seen. Yeah,
it's very much a torch passing movie to where it's like, okay, you're the new Preston, you're the new Steve-O, you're the new Pontius. Yes, there is a bit of a sad, dark cloud over it that this is the first one they had to do without Bam, because he's had like a real fucked up year with drug abuse and everything.
Well, apparently they filmed stuff with him, but they couldn't use it because like he broke like his like the contract, and he went on like fucking rants on Instagram, and
those were bad, calling for Dr. Phil. Thankfully he's better now. I think like 2 weeks ago there was like a Vice documentary where they like looked in on him. Now he's doing much better now.
Oh, that's good.
He's actually home now, and I'm like, good for you. He's apparently like trying to edit a movie to kind of like commemorate the memory of who's the guy who passed away?
The Brandon guy?
No, who was the Jackass guy who died?
Ryan Dunn.
Yeah, Ryan Dunn. That they want to like. He's trying to like do a documentary honoring the life of Ryan Dunn. And he's also doing a movie about Hanoi Rocks that he's like editing. So he's actually hard at work too, apparently.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so we're going to get... Here's another thing that shocked me about Bam. Apparently he was bulimic, too, on top of everything else.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, because he didn't want to be fat like his dad and his uncle, and all he did was, like, drink, which obviously that's a lot of sugar.
I do remember he did start looking a little bit like his dad. And I'm like, there it is.
Which makes me feel worse now, knowing that the dude struggled with weight and that he was like actively throwing up because of that. I'm like, that's almost sadder than the drugs, actually, because I can relate to the weight thing. I can't relate to the drug thing. But yeah, apparently he's doing better. I guess that was all the movies this year that I really enjoyed. Did you have any other ones?
I can't really think of any other ones.
If not, then maybe we'll circle back to it. But I guess we can finally get to comics for the year. The thing, the main event you waited for, everyone, and now we're here. Obviously, I think one we got to start it off with, one that we really enjoyed, and a trade that I think is going to live forever moving forward. Action Comics, the Warworld Saga.
Yes, I'm just going to take this moment to plug my big story time. I compiled every story Philip Kennedy Johnson and Grant Morrison have written for this, and the video is almost... it's over 4 hours long.
Nice.
So you can go check that out and get the comprehensive, probably the only one available on YouTube, story about it. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, everyone check that out. But yeah, I think this has probably been one of the best, most approachable, and probably most recommendable Superman stories in a really long time.
Fantastic in every aspect of it.
And, like, it's made up of parts like we've seen before where it's like, oh, Superman goes to Warworld. It's kind of like Gladiator. Oh, I think of, like, several Superman stories that reminds me of. Yes, but it's also different.
Yes, very different.
It's very different, and it's also a chance to see Superman show us that, he is that good guy. He is that symbol of hope, and he can be that way even when he doesn't have powers. In fact, he believes it even more so when he's, weak and hurt.
Yeah, even when he's at his lowest, he still believes it, and that's what gives him the drive to continue on. And as well as like seeing like people like Othel and Othel, the two little Phalasians he helps save and everything. Yeah,
absolutely. Becomes a dad, kind of works through those issues. Some great stuff for like Midnighter and his new Authority team. They all get fun little subplots. I really like what they do with Midnighter, basically making him the counterpoint to Superman's optimism, where Midnighter's like, no, we got to kill them all. We got to blow up the whole planet. And he's like, well, that's not what a hero does. And Midnighter's like, well, then I guess we're just not going to do it then.
But then he also comes around at the end, and same with Manchester Black, the character whose big story was being the antithesis to Superman and doing things the new way, quote unquote. He becomes a believer in what Superman is doing.
Yes, he makes a believer out of all of them by the end. Also, this is probably the best Mongol story they've told ever, basically because they started from scratch and created a new Mongol.
Yeah, they make it clear that like Mongol is like a name that's passed on between like Warzoons, whoever like is like the strongest basically takes over as the new Mongol.
And has been forever. Just the lore that they build on Warworld here is really solid.
Oh, it's so good because it's got that like Dark Souls tinge to it.
Very much so.
Like
built on dead societies.
Yeah, Dark Souls, fucking like Conan magic, dark fantasy.
Totally.
Yeah, it's great.
And when the last of the races die, who have been held in the chains of Warworld, the blood priests
the fire of Volgren, and
all
great.
this other. And yeah, it was a cage for the fire of Ulgrim because no one could hold it because an ancient freaking Mongol killed a spaceman and took his shit, and that's what became his armor.
Yes.
Explaining like all the weird stuff, and the fact that Phil Kennedy Johnson is still building on that in his new series. There's just a lot to like about Warworld Saga. Again, if I could recommend anyone a modern Superman story, it would be this.
It would be, yeah, absolutely, 100%. There's again, it's also like a really great like jumping on point. Like you can jump on right now on like Action Comics 1050, but if you wanted to jump on in this story, you can.
It's really, really great stuff. I guess, too, we got to give Batman his due as well. Batman The Night was this year one of the 2 Chip Zdarsky Batman stories that were pretty strong.
Yeah, you mainly read that one. I read the mainline book, which was also really fantastic.
Yeah, the fail-safe stuff, Batman having to, confront his own paranoia and his own bullshit, and how, maybe he is his own greatest enemy and everything, but also challenging what a Batman story can be, and the answer is it can be anything.
It can be anything, yeah.
Again, it can start in the alleys of Gotham. It can end with him falling from space to the goddamn Arctic Circle. And I love that for Batman. Same with The Knight. It's a globe-trotting Bruce Wayne story, because he's not even Batman until the very end, seeing what made him the man he was, seeing him train with all these masters, and really kind of being a story about what it means to be the best at something. And the main takeaway Batman is like, okay, so you're all masters of your crafts, but you all hide away from the world. You're not helping anyone. What's the point of being the best at something if you don't help?
Yep.
And I think that's so quintessentially Batman, and also a real, counter argument to the whole Bat God thing. I'm the best in the world because I'm the best. No, I'm the
best. That's what I really
world.
Liked about it. It was just completely antithesis of that.
Yeah, I'm the best in the world, but because I want to help, not because I'm not doing any of this for me, is what it is. I actively want to help people. I want to help the world. And he's also not the master of everything, too. He doesn't quite nail acting at first, and he certainly doesn't nail magic.
No, certainly not.
Which I love that, too. It's like even Batman has, blind spots that he's got to deal with. Oh, yeah, the chat saying this was also the year, too, that we restored Superman's secret identity.
Yes, in the latest Action Comics, yeah.
What would you think of that, Matt, actually? Because I think mechanically they found an excellent reason to restore it, but I feel character-wise, it's like, well, why do you care, Lex?
Well, again, he cares. It's petty. It's very petty.
It's very petty.
They, just because Superman's happy with it, he'll take that away, and Superman will be unhappy with it.
That's true. Like if he was unhappy with it, he wouldn't have done it. Or if he was happy with his identity, if he gets happy with his secret identity again, Lex will try and out it, because it really doesn't matter what's the deal with Superman. Lex always has to be a contrarian to him. And
I like the added caveat that people can find out that he is Superman, and they'll have a fucking brain explosion and die. That's the cool added caveat to it, where it's not just a reset and people can find out again. He's got to actually keep it close to his vest this time.
I was reminded very positively of Daredevil and the Purple Children, actually, and how they managed to wipe everyone's memory of Matt being Daredevil. But also how they left the door open to slowly over time people could remember again. I guess I'll talk about that too. Yeah, Daredevil, also by Chip Zdarsky. I know it seems kind of unfair that he has 2 places on the list, but it's just that good.
Yeah, well, maybe he should stop being such a good writer.
Yeah, maybe you should stop, making it look fucking easy, man, and write these amazing epics that make me fall back in love with comics again, dude.
Yeah, jeez.
You ever think? And you're doing it at 2 companies now too. You're doing it at Marvel and DC.
Yeah, with 2 of their biggest books. Yeah.
Yeah, leave it for someone else, man, to write amazingly transformative works that will stick with us forever. Dick. But yeah, seriously, again, everything Chip Zdarsky touched this year was really fucking solid. Also, too, Captain America, the best it's been in years. 2 books.
It's been fantastic. I've been catching up on it.
So good, right? And the fact that we get 2 great flavors. You get the Sam book that's more, like espionage, action adventure, globe-trotting, working with Ian Rogers, dealing with supernations. And then you get the Steve book, which is all like, secret societies and deep conspiracies, but also very grounded in just Steve being a really good guy in Brooklyn and trying to help people and trying to join the modern age. Because it's like, look, if I don't live with normal people, then, it doesn't mean that much when I try and save them.
Exactly, yeah. It's so good.
It's probably the closest to where it's like, yeah, Steve, you are Marvel's Superman, aren't you?
Yeah, he pretty much is.
Just pure and good, and like even when they drop a dark conspiracy in his lap, like, your shield was actually commissioned by these ruling secret aristocrats of the world who made money off war since time immemorial. Steve's like, yeah, but that doesn't matter to me though, because I used the shield to punch Nazis.
Yeah.
They tried to control me, but they failed because no one can control me. I am the American dream. I will always do what's right.
Yeah.
And that pisses them off more. Also, hey, the most interesting that Bucky has been in a very long time.
They're actually doing something with him, yeah.
Oh my God, he's not just living in Steve's shadow anymore.
Yeah.
He's not just being, a palette swap of Steve. He actually has stuff to do.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great also to think. I just also want to bring it back to that. These 2 runs also started back in that awesome Christopher Cantwell
That's true.
Captain America book where he introduced all those other Captain Americas, and there he did stuff with like Bucky with that set him up on here where he's like, I'm fucking sick of being in Steve's shadow. I'm gonna be my own person now.
And indeed he is. He has thrown away the emo fringes of good and has adopted the man bun of evil.
Yeah.
But even then, he's not really evil. He's just like, crap, I thought I could come here and shoot everyone. I guess I'm stuck here now. I love that he instantly regretted it. It's like, well, guess I gotta work this from this side now, huh? All right. What else was really good this year? I'm sure you really liked Batman Superman. That was good. I like Batman versus Robin a little more though, but they're both Mark Waid, and he knocked both out of the park.
Yeah, see, I like Batman Superman just because it was like a Saturday morning cartoon, and then with that last issue, it's like, no, this is actually a Kingdom Come prequel.
Oh shit! Really?
You haven't read that last issue?
I have not.
The whole series has been a Kingdom Come issue. David Martinez is Magog.
No shit.
And he has they set up his rivalry with Joker and sets up why he killed Joker in Kingdom Come when he gassed the Daily Planet.
Is this gonna maybe pay off in Lazarus Planet because clearly
Probably.
Mark Waid now has the pen for the rest of the DC universe moving on into 2023. He's got the next big event.
Probably. It's kind of looking that's at some point in the future Kingdom Come will happen.
Right, because that's basically what Batman versus Robin was about. It's like, let's repair the Bruce Damian relationship, but let's also play around with, what Lazarus Resin is now and what this means for the world. And also, oh no, we blew up a big volcano. Now Lazarus Resin is everywhere.
Yeah.
That might be a problem.
A little bit of a problem.
Also, Batman put on the helmet of fate for a little bit, but once again, can't do magic.
I saw that, yeah. I like that. I love that running gag that, like, Batman's good at everything, he can't do magic.
Can't do it.
Which is why he doesn't like it as well.
He only did it because he was desperate, and he even said, I've never liked magic because it means, you have to submit yourself to mysterious forces outside yourself. And he's like, and I don't submit for anything. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking Batman.
So you don't like it just because you can't work it out. That's all.
Exactly.
That's why you can't do it.
I'm a control freak. I don't like it. That panel's even better because he's like, all the different, accumulated wizards of the past yell at me in my head trying to direct me. So he has every magical kid be like, do this, make this sigil, do the thing. And then I was like, shut up. I know what I'm doing. It's also just good to have fucking Bruce and Damian be back together again, because fuck did they drag that out and milk that for no goddamn reason.
Oh man, yeah, it was so long, wasn't it?
It really was. In fact, hey, I had some disappointing ones in here. Shadow War is on my most disappointing. That story seems especially fucking weak sauce now, considering that most of it never meant anything.
Yeah, most of it never went anywhere. Yeah, it was just
Yep.
it was again. I think we talked about it when it happened. It felt like a stopgap, like
It was.
because it was like, oh, we got to get to Dark Crisis, but we're not there just yet. Just put Geoforce as a bad guy, here.
Yep.
Yeah.
100% a stopgap. An event we both really liked this year, Judgment Day, spun out of the Eternals, and wow, was probably one of the smartest, most enjoyable, most ramification-filled Marvel events in a minute.
Brilliant use of like every book that was part of it was like felt really actually entwined with, wasn't just like a tie-in,
Yeah. Also, again, very topical. A lot of events deal with like, oh, the world is ending, we'll all die. But this is the first one that was like, nah, it really does feel like the end of the world, and it really does feel apocalyptic. Hey, reader, wouldn't you agree? And I'm like, yeah, friggin' Al Ewing, I would agree.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, Kieran Gillen. Yeah, Kieran Gillen, I would agree, actually. And maybe we're all gonna die, and maybe we will all deserve it. And I'm like, man, this is what my superheroes are telling me, huh? Okay.
Yeah, and on top of that as well, just like the X-Men books as well have just been just brilliant.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people started dropping off this year, but I still think that they put out some really good work. I'm behind on Immortal. I know the last issue really sets up Sins of Sinister, which is going to be the next big event.
Yeah, if anything goes by, I read there's like a recent issue called Timeless, which is like sort of again setting up like what's happening. That's got big hints of what's coming in Marvel.
Good.
I
did flip
X-Men and everything. Yeah.
I did flip through it. I did see like, oh no, the treehouse is on fire in New York, and evil Bucky is coming to Tony Stark in jail.
Yeah, and the Knights of the Round Table are trying to kill Kang and everything. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Also, Tony might be drinking again. He might have fallen off the wagon because someone might have slipped him a Mickey.
Yeah, that someone is very heavily hinted to be Moira McTaggart.
Ooh, is it? Oh, she's getting involved. See, I liked in that new Iron Man book, Jerry Duggan's like, hey, remember Fei Long, that evil rocket scientist I invented for X-Men?
He's fighting him. He's buying Stark Unlimited, and he's building Iron Man Sentinels.
Oh, that's fun. See, I like that crossover. See, I like how that all comes together. I'm like, ooh, Jerry Duggan rewarding me for reading all of his work.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I like that new Iron Man #1. I know we didn't talk about it, but I picked it up, and I'm like, okay, I think I might stick with this now.
I like that it continued a lot of Christopher Cantwell stuff and didn't just like completely wipe it off the board.
Duggan is good like that. Duggan is definitely good like that. Hell, again, to give more praise to Duggan, Dark Web sucks ass and is easily one of the worst things of the year, coming in right at the end. But his X-Men tie-in, a lot of fun. You know why? Because he treats the whole thing like a giant fucking joke.
Giant joke, yep.
Yep, he just lampshades it. He's just literally just making jokes about it. He's like, this is stupid. This is all really dumb. Havoc, you're a goddamn idiot. If you didn't want Madeline Pryor brought back, we wouldn't be in this situation. And in fact, Cyclops and Havoc are fighting anyway in the X-Men books. So goddamn, Duggan spun gold from shit. Good for him. That's why he's like a real MVP. He might not ever get the AAA books a lot of the time, but he deserves them because the man is a goddamn workhorse.
He's goddamn good, yeah.
Blood Syndicate, really fun team book. I don't get a lot of team books. Likewise, Thunderbolts, it was only a mini-series, but hey, gotta give some love to Jim Zub. The Variants, again, not every year we get a Jessica Jones stories, not every year Gail Simone comes back to comics, but this year I got both, and I was a very happy boy.
Nice.
And it ended strong, too. That's basically all the comics I had. I think people could pretty much guess what I was going to talk about. What else did you have, Matt?
Yeah, Christopher Campbell's Iron Man run. Again,
naturally. Probably
the most, the biggest run ever in the character, just because of all the character work it does with him building off, like, super deep pulls, making Patsy Walker a main character, and keeping all of her weird books as canon and everything. It was great.
I do love that.
And yeah, it's fantastic. I'm starting to read. He started a Namor book.
Yes, I heard too. I wanted to pick that up.
Amazing things about it, so I'm looking forward to getting into that.
His Gold Goblin is surprisingly good.
I would imagine it's probably pretty good. Yeah.
Again, the man has made a great career about writing sympathetic assholes.
Oh, he's really good at that, yeah.
And that's basically the Norman Osborn story where, like, everyone is wishing for him to fail. And he's like, yeah, but I am good now. What am I supposed to do? Am I just supposed to wait till I turn bad again? Am I just supposed to do nothing? Fuck yeah, I'm going to go do good anyway, whether you want me to or not. He does a lot of character. Again, Gold Goblin, everything else in Dark Web sucks. The Gold Goblin tie-in actually pretty solid because Norman solves the whole problem in like 2 seconds. He's like, look, if I can just find a way to copy memories and give them to Ben, he won't be an asshole anymore, right? Okay, cool, I'll do it then.
Yeah, cool.
And then the Queen Goblin's like, no, you gotta fight your sins. And Norman's like, this is stupid. You can't take my sins out via magic and put them into a woman via science. This is dumb as hell. just fucking Norman no-selling like the last 2 Spider-Man runs. It's good. It's good stuff. Some things I didn't read this year but really wanted to read. The Thing miniseries I heard was great. In fact, I hear the Fantastic Four book that's going on by North is also really solid. I picked up the first issue, breezed through it, but never actually got to read it. One Star Squadron, which you spoke very highly about.
Yes, that was so good.
Came out very early in the year. I feel like a lot of people missed it. And The Good Asian, I hear, is really good now at Image as well. Apparently, it's really hit its stride now. It's not a new book, but apparently they're turning out, like, their strongest material.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, it's very, like, 1940s, you know, private detective, only starring an Asian lead in San Francisco. And I'm like, ooh, that's kind of like that Warrior show I like.
Cool, cool. A couple of weeks ago, I also started reading... It's only on 5 issues at the moment, but Philip Kennedy Johnson has started writing James Bond.
I saw that on your channel.
And it's pretty fucking good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I imagine it would be, because he writes good asshole protagonists.
Yeah, and this James Bond is not like the movies James Bond. He's just like an everyman who's just so sick of shit happening around him, and he's fighting like the syndicate from the Mission Impossible films that are run. It's cool. Like run by like, again, because it's James Bond, you've got to have a villain with like a defect. So he's fighting a guy who's got like, I'm not really sure what he's got. It's like MS or something. Like he's like set up
he's got
like
a muscle thing.
A big paramilitary company. All the guys are like enhanced. So he's like fighting people with like classic James Bond judo chops, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing? I'm gonna throw you through a plate glass window," you know?
Oh, I like that. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. Every James Bond villain does have some sort of like medical issue or a different.
Yeah, because if you have a medical condition, you're a bad guy.
I guess, yeah, as Ian Fleming has, I cry blood, I have a gold finger, I'm bald and scarred.
Yeah, I have metal fucking hands. Yeah, it's great.
I have metal teeth.
Yeah.
But shit, I'm not gonna lie, after all the money I spent on teeth work this year, give me the Jaws treatment is all I'm asking for. That's my superpower. Let me bite anything without fear.
I have a bowler hat that I can throw and cut people.
Yes, you know, everyone forgets about that medical condition, being Asian.
Yeah, we make a joke about that, but like, I think just before this run started, Greg Pak did a James Bond run, and he made Oddjob a main character and a friend of James Bond who was like a South Korean agent, and it was actually like sick. Really kind of cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. That guy was a wrestler. Did you know that he had like a big long wrestling career?
Yes, there's also a guy who fought James Bond in one of the Sean Connery films who was like The Rock's grandfather.
Oh, that's super cool. So it wouldn't be Rocky Johnson. It would be Rocky Johnson's father.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope. Man, James Bond is cool.
Yeah, it is. It is really cool.
Movies are hit or miss, but it's usually pretty cool. I guess, too, let's, just run through some ones that I think we can all agree were, like, really bad or at the very least super disappointing. I mentioned Shadow War.
Mm-hmm.
That one was pretty bad. I mentioned that Dark Web is really chapping my ass, and I can't believe it's not over, and I'm going to have to keep doing it for the next couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Crisis Young Justice was so bad it was almost transcendent.
It's so bad that I'm actually doing a compilation of all my reviews it, and I'm leaving that one out just because it's nothing to do with the plot, and it's just completely interminable. It's terrible.
It's a special kind of bad. It's like we're going to have to like study this for years to come about why this one was so bad. It tries to be a celebration of Young Justice, but it just ends up being a pissing and moaning session.
It's a celebration of Young Justice done by someone who has a very specific take about Young Justice. And if it's not that, then everything is the worst thing ever.
Very much so. It's so stuck in its ways, so stuck in its time. It's, if anything, it's like actually a really good, showcase of like, this is why fans shouldn't be allowed to write their favorite things.
Yes.
Because they're going to get too in the weeds and too in their heads and only just make the version that exists in their minds canon.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, we brought back all your favorite characters. Don't you love it? They're all assholes now.
Yeah, for no real reason.
For no discernible reason, they're all just the worst.
Yeah.
I would say most of Batman One Bad Day, the the Penguin one I really enjoyed because he was just Kingpin, and the Mr. Freeze story was fine if forgettable.
I didn't read any of them. Just because I know they wouldn't go fucking anywhere.
The first two, the Riddler one and the Two-Face one, are god-awful.
What was the point? What was the point of this whole One Bad Day thing? Because it was really weird to like just drop it in the middle of like a crisis event.
We wanted to do it because Killing Joke One Bad Day still sells a lot. That's why.
Okay.
And if we thought if we would slap the name on there, it would do good. But of course, as we quickly discovered, you just can't make Killing Joke for character X because you want to.
Yeah.
Also, the name makes no goddamn sense either because these stories take place over long periods of time. They're not one day at all. It's a real shame, too, because they got superstar writers and artists together, and I can totally tell DC editorials, like, you have a weekend to come up with a pitch, and everyone just had the first pitch that they had in mind.
Yeah, right.
These all feel like first drafts, and also, they kind of stopped. They were coming out regularly, but now they've stopped. We still have, like, a Bane one from Joshua Williamson, and, like, a Tom Taylor, Ra's al Ghul one. We've got, like, a couple ones that are still meant to come out, but haven't.
Okay.
I wonder if they have more time to work on them now, or what.
Or they've scrapped them.
Yeah, or they've scrapped them completely. I was actually looking forward to the Clayface one, because it was, like, Clayface going back to Hollywood, and I'm like, oh, that's a good pitch, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
We had a great pitch where it's like, yeah, he should go back to Hollywood and he should be a hero. He should be fighting Harvey Weinsteins and other people, using the Hollywood machine against people and like getting in good with like a bunch of young horror filmmakers because he can make himself whatever horror monster they need for their movie.
Yeah, and like use that whole thing of like being able to turn into people and whatnot, like to his advantage to like oust like the Harvey Weinsteins and all that sort of stuff and
all the serial abusers from Hollywood. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Again, I think it would be so easy to make Basil Karlo a hero, especially now. And you could have him again.
They tried to. Remember during James Tynan's run, they like made him, and then they just did nothing with it.
Nothing with it. But yeah, have Clayface be the defender of Hollywood would be amazing. He's like, I used to be part of the old boys network and everything, but now I've changed my ways, and now I'm ready to clean up my mess, basically.
Yeah.
That writes itself, but unfortunately we didn't get it. How can I also forget What If Miles Morales Thor, which will now go down in history as the racist Miles comic.
Holy shit. How did that even get oh my god.
If you ever needed a better example or a better showcase of how Marvel editorial is asleep at the wheel, you could read Dark Web and how none of the tie-ins actually tie in, but this is a perfect example of how no one is reading anything. No one is proofreading shit.
Nah.
And a lot of the time, it just ends up with, like, nerdy complaints, but sometimes you end up with a book like this where it's like, wow, this is super racist. This writer has never met a black person in their life. Oh, my God.
This person's only met, like, black people in, like, old WB cartoons.
Yeah, really. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Oh, my God, please stop. It's really bad. It's like the worst, and especially at a time too where it's like, no, you're supposed to keep Miles good right now. He's your guy. He's your dude to put out on Front Street and everything. He's got a new movie coming out that's probably going to do great.
Yeah.
Don't embarrass the guy like this. And lastly on here, and I think we can both agree that this is super disappointing, and this still breaks my heart to think about this one, Arkham Tower.
Oh man, I'd completely forgotten about that. That started so fucking well until part 12 or something. Yeah,
it shits the bed right at the end.
Yeah,
and it's such a shame.
And it's because then Batman comes in That's literally it.
It's literally too much Batman ruins everything. We were loving a story that focused on the sidekicks. We loved the villain in that one because he wasn't trying to take over the world or get revenge.
He was a fucking con man.
He was a con man who wanted money and was going to ruin a bunch of lives. And it was so well done and so well put. Penguin got to be good in it. The Party Crashers got stuff to do. And then it all just shat the bed when not only Batman showed up, but Scarecrow showed up.
Yeah,
too. It's like,
they retroactively made it like part of like Fear State and like tried to like re-up that again and like man.
Fear State, which was already disappointing on its own, and then it's like, no, you were so close.
Yeah, that really disappointed me. Oh, god damn it.
I know, right? Like, we had basically already memory holded it. I didn't memory hold. I'm like, I almost loved this. This is probably the first instance where it's like, oh yeah, this was early best of the year, and then in like the last 4 issues, and now it's in the worst.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Never have I seen something fall from grace so heavily like it did.
Man,
tell me about it. Well, that's everything on my list, unless we have anything you didn't think we covered, Matt.
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything else that was like really bad.
Yeah. It's midnight now, so I know we've been talking for a while, so you all got a whopper length of a show now.
To start off the year, yeah.
Start off the year right, and I'm glad you did, because, as we near, 300 episodes, and as we near, I don't even know how many years we've been doing this show, I'm sure people have noticed, but YouTube has kind of been fucking up longer content again and podcastable content, so in the new year, probably sometime after 300 episodes, Matt and I are probably going to try and rework the show for a little bit to try and be more YouTuber friendly. So we hope you'll all be here for that. Obviously, of course, you can always watch the show as it's intended live and in audio form and over on Patreon, which again, hey, thank you patrons for, helping keeping this show going. And you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. And, hey, it's a good belated Christmas gift, Just throwing that out. Hey, thank you, Brandon, for the $5. Appreciate it, right? Yeah, just $5 for. Again, we don't want to scare anyone. We don't want to worry anyone. We know that the fans we have, the fans who always watch, are our ride or dies, and we really appreciate it. We just are saying that YouTube is kind of fucking us over recently. I don't know if you watch the numbers over at the channel right now, but none of these shows has actually broken 1,000 in like 3 to 4 months, and it's a little distressing.
It's the YouTube algorithm.
Ruff saying, hey, before you go, where's Elseworlds Exchange making its return? Well, Ruff, that's exactly what we're talking about. Sal and I haven't done Elseworlds Exchange because doing it would actually hurt his channel. Live content is getting buried. Podcasting content is getting buried. I think that's why, like, Benny the Comic Historian hasn't done anything in a while either, because it's just like, we got to stop. I didn't want to stop. I wanted to keep going, even if maybe, it actually hurt my bottom line, because I'm like, look, people want the show, they expect the show, and it's fucking YouTube, so, it's like, it's the fucking waves, man. Maybe it'll change. Maybe the tide will change. I don't know.
Yeah, again, we'll change and it'll change. Yeah. It'll change back to what we originally had. Yeah.
Exactly.
What we need to do though is we need to do like what every channel's doing. Do like those alpha male self-help sections and talk about like disrespect women and do all this. Yeah.
Books. Who needs books for
you don't need to read books. Don't watch Star Wars. Yeah.
I'm a karate chop.
What color's your Bugatti? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Tell me about it. And then get fucking owned by climate change activists and their teams and they get arrested.
Pizza boxes and
Oh man, that SVU episode they're gonna make on him is gonna be great. Can't wait for it. 10 on 10. I can't wait for Stabler to be like, it was the pizza box. That was the clue that brought it all together.
Stabler exacerbatingly throwing chairs at him or something. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Just breaking shit down, kicking down doors. Unstabler. Powers activate. Also, Brando Williams saying, I meant to say love you all. Well, we love you too, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. See, now we're rambling. I just wanted to, let people know that, moving forward, if, the show changes at all, that's why. It's not because we wanted to do it. It's because YouTube keeps fucking on us, basically.
Yeah.
The only constant is change. You're right, Chemda. But I promise there will be places for you to see and listen to the show in its in its entirety. Even if we got to change up, the methods of how we actually get it on here.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you everyone for watching and listening, and Matt and I will be back again next time. Same Comic Multiverse time, same Comic Multiverse place.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Happy New Year again.